he turned to car lines and cage, but no one's really there. Does that mean it's done in vain if no one really cares? And back to acting strange like Daniel Johnston in Texas. At some point in the 80s, passing out his cassettes with the J card that he drew, or did he ever expect it? I guess it's just what happens when the music's a respite. The world is so appalling and you come to detest it. And you could say that I was nervous then, fairly awkward now. Leave the speakers loud when you feel self-doubt. If there's any chance that we still hang out, we could detail dreams while we stare at passing clouds. Those modal masterworks, they don't all over the seams when I ask afterwards. All message lost in between the shifting aperture, depicting sun-soaked scenes. I guess they resonate. That's universal consciousness, take two of ascension. The shape of jazz to Calma, Laurie Spiegel's inventions. O'Rourke's Horn and Allinvitational, as I've mentioned. You're dancing in a room and no one's paying attention. Addressing my reception with a focused eye to the passing clouds. I'll be there for you when you're feeling down. Any given day, you can find me round in a despondent way, in a steady best called brown.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna be starting now. Alright, so we're gonna be starting off. This is Group C of the All-Invitational. This is the first series, gonna be between XII and Frogs. Whenever it decides to load in, it'd be pretty neato, I guess. And wrong button. Alright. So we have up here, spawning in the top right side of the map, we have in the teal, it is our protest player, Exiled. And down here we have in the bottom left, it is our pink Zerg player, it is Frogs. Just need to turn down some stuff so that we can have a pretty decent looking stream without lagging too much. Alright, so it looks like Frog's going for a hatch first this game. I guess we got a bit of time to just talk about the players. I think I kind of like doing these segments. Even though I don't personally know these players like all too well, like I talked to Frogs a decent amount. We've played some games. He's a really cool guy. Same with Exiled. I've actually not played as many games of Exiled as I have Frogs, but still, you know, like I don't know these guys the best, but I've been around here for a while. I hear things, I see things, so I like to think I know a decent amount about them. And it's kind of nice for anyone who maybe hasn't been in the clan as long or doesn't spend as much time hanging out to, you know, get to know their teammates a bit. But so yeah, Frogs, this playstyle, definitely one of, he's a thinking man. He has a lot of builds that he goes for to take advantage of the game in the build order sense, as opposed to just like, I don't know, just, he's not like well known for his mechanics or his micro, let's say, but his build orders are definitely what I think are a selling point of this play. Meanwhile, over here we have Exiled. Exiled, I definitely feel like has the advantage in this series, but definitely has a bit of, I think, I'm not sure how to say it. He could definitely be susceptible to some bad build order, not losses, but disadvantages. Because I know Exiled plays his own brand of not only like a couple different matchups, so I feel like he doesn't play as efficiently as he could, even though his mechanics and his macro are all very strong. But he just kind of plays a bit odd in some matchups, and I feel like that handicaps him to an extent. But still, he's a very good player, and he definitely can take out Frogs, especially if Frogs doesn't have necessarily the best build orders in mind. But it looks like here we're going to have a Ling Flood with some Overlord drops, so we do have that Evolution Chamber finishing up. And we have some Lings and Speed on the way. Now over here for Exiled, he did get 2 gateways pretty early on. I believe he's getting some Stalkers from those. Yes, he is. Okay. And he's also getting a Twilight Council, so this could be a couple of things. He could be going for that DT drop build. He could be going for Charge Zealots. Judging by the amount of Stalkers he's built, though, I feel like this is more apt to be a DT drop build. But yeah, this is actually really bad for Exiled, as these Lings got in. They're Speedlings in his main base. They're going to be depowering these gateways, actually, as there's only a couple pylons here. No Mothership Core in sight, and this could actually block off Exiled's ability to produce anything. And with no wall up, these Zerglings can just jump right in. They kill 2 Stalkers, and wow, GG is called. Frog's actually taking out Exile in game number 1. Hey, it's what can't I remember your name? Greed. Thanks for watching the stream. I appreciate it. Alright, so going into game 2 here. So spawning down here in the bottom right side of the map, we have in the teal, plain Protoss. It is Exiled. And up here in the top left, we have in the pink again, plain Zerg. It is Frogs. Now, Frog's able to take a pretty surprising first game off of Exiled. I definitely did not expect Frogs to take a game in such a fashion. Like, I was talking about how Exiled plays some like really weird build orders, and like I think it kind of handicaps him to an extent. And I'm not sure if that's what happened there, because it's just like, I don't know, just like with like one of those games that just ends up in a really weird spot. And yeah, I guess like, you know, if you don't take things seriously like that, like having those Lings poking at the front of your base, if you just decide to let your Stalker fight them until it dies without building a wall behind it, like, you know, that's what's gonna happen. If Lings flood into your base, you die. That's the life of a Protoss player. Alright, so Exiled looking like he wants to get some gas or Reno pretty quick here, as he is rushing that out. Actually going for a 2-gate opener. Not quite sure what the popularity of these are. I don't really see this much in PvZ. This seems kind of dated. I'm not sure if this is just how Exiled likes to play. But yeah, he might just like to be a bit more defensive or aggressive, depending on what he decides to do with these gateways. If he does make some add-ups from these, I guess that could definitely be a good way to put on a lot of pressure early on, as we, you know, that's kind of how we've seen PvZ played a lot near the start of Legacy's release. Frogs is Diamond 1, I believe, and Exiled's Masters 3, Masters 2. Alright, so it looks like Frog's getting a decent amount of Lings out. 8 of them, and he does have an evolution chamber going down. So this might be the same build, which isn't all too bad, because even though he went for the same he went for the same build last game, but it never really panned out. Like, he just kind of got in with like 10 lings, and that was it. And he didn't actually showcase the rest of what he had planned. I assume he has some intricate plan with dropper lords and a bunch of other shit. But yeah, he never really got to showcase that to us, so looks like this game we'll get to see what he was planning. And XII does have a stalker going around, checking out everything. This pylon actually kind of in an unfortunate position. Yeah. So we ward off most of these links with it, but at the same time they do kill that adept. And Frog's actually kind of letting a few too many of his lings die there for what he needed, or what he should have let die. Because there's no more overcharge now, so he can go back in and start poking away at this if he wants. He could definitely pick off that pylon pretty easily, but of course he doesn't need to, as he does have this dropper lord over here ferrying units up into the main base. And only one pylon actually in range of these probes here, so that'll be a really nice way if Frog decides to get away to kill these probes. Now all the units moving down here, Photon Overcharge almost ready. A couple more energy on that Miniature Core, and there we go. Now all these things we were trying to bust in at the front, but unfortunately there was some pylons here to block. There's still that dropper load though. And it doesn't look like Frogs is letting down on this Ling aggression. He's just continuing to build Lings. But I think at this point Exile should feel pretty fine versus it. Like, Frogs threw away a lot of Lings in the beginning, and I don't think he now has the overwhelming numbers that he needs. Exile actually kind of not really taking this that seriously. He's losing quite a few units. Now he's pulling the probes to fight, and still going to lose a couple of these adepts at least. And these slings are getting a decent amount of probe kills now. The worker differential is still pretty big, and Frogs really needs to kill some shit pretty quickly or else he will lose. Okay, now these lings are chipped away at a lot of these pylons, and actually almost going to kill one of these gateways. So another Photon Overcharge does go down. That Mothership Core racking up quite a few kills. And it looks like that Dropper Lord did get cleaned up in the main. We don't have one over there. So it's just from the front area that this fight's going to happen now. And with all these adepts, I don't think these lings can get in behind in time to before like too many of them are killed. And Frog's just continuing on the lings though. Of course, he cannot really back into this one. Yeah, so finally, I feel like Exiled is in a pretty steady spot now. I definitely feel like he wasn't really taking this that seriously. Like, there was definitely a few points there where Frogs got way more damage than he needed to. Now, Frog still has the capability to produce drop overlords if he wants to. But of course, Exile does see most of these drop overlords, or these overlords, so not too many of them are going to get morphed, I imagine. Okay, and now we have a Bailey Nest here on the way for Frogs. Now, Frogs did drone up a little bit. He's gotten some saturation on his natural, but we don't see a third base just yet. And with the addition of this Bailey Nest, it's making me think that he wants to just get a bit of a better economy for now and just continue to make lings. Oh, and he's actually getting a base at the gold here. So I'm not sure if he wants that defensively then. This is pretty tough to call what Frogs wants to do. I definitely don't feel like there's a way in which Frogs just like macros out of this. As long as Exile builds a third base, he'll be fine. What are you doing, Exile? Okay, you misplaced his pylon there. Alright, now that is a lot of adepts. Maybe that Bailey Nest is specifically for dealing with that huge clump of adepts. And Frogs does see that coming across the map. Good job with that Ling there. But still, this is a lot of adepts, and he's going to need quite a few Balians to get really good connections on these if he has a hope of cleaning this up efficiently. Now behind this, remember, Frogs does have a gold-based morphine. Gold-based morphine. Alright, so these Balians are coming in here now, but decent splits from Exiled, except at this part here. A lot of Baling and detonations going off. There's enough links here to clean this up, I think. Another really big Baling hit there. And yeah, this is a lot of adepts for not a whole lot of damage, but with the follow-up, it looks like Exiled actually barely holds out here. One Spine Crawler there did morph, but that's going to get cleaned up. And I'm not sure if Frogs now has production to efficiently clean this up, or if he's just going to keep bleeding off units. Alright, drones are trying to hide in the main base now. Some more Balians being morphed, but there's no links to back them up really, only a couple of them. So I feel like these Balians aren't really going to live very long, or do very well. Alright, so Frogs' units are marching down the ramp now. Trying to kill these adepts, but to no avail. And behind this, Exiled will be getting a third base of his own, so I feel like at this game, or at this point in the game, it's kind of checkmate for Exiled. There's no way like Frogs can transition into anything to deal with this. He is keeping most of his drones alive though. Of course, behind this, Exiled is getting his own third base up. Alright, a bunch more drones going down, but 10 of them just fell. Now he's pulling all of his drones, and GG well played is called. Now, Exiled tying up the series. Good night, Creed. I don't think I'm ready to say that in our relationship yet. Alright, so we have now spawning down in the bottom right side of the map, we have in the teal playing Protoss. It is Exiled. And up here in the top left, we have in the pink playing Zerg. It is Frogs. Alright, now Ferg's definitely a player who I think can cause an upset. And I definitely feel like Exiled is a player who has gotten upset many times before. Notably by Tech4 himself. And I think even I upset Exiled and won Allinvitational before. He doesn't have very good luck when it comes to his performance in these. Even though I feel like Exiled's a pretty good player, he just tends to get beaten by people I feel like he shouldn't be. I'll have to make some like player profile like they did with the BlizzCon players for Exiled. That'll be his archetype or whatever the hell you want to say. The underperformer. Oops. Alright, and again another 2-gate opening. Really not liking these. They don't seem to do much. Like, these were fine when adepts were, like, really busted, I think. And, like, everyone just used adepts all the time, and no one, like, really knew how to deal with them that well. But I feel like at this point in time, strategically, Zergs have figured out, okay, like, you just gotta, you know, build some Lings early on, you know, just build, like, 8 Lings, and have some Queens, and then you kill the adepts, and then they waste a lot of money. And that's why you see most Protoss harass kind of focused at a later point in the game now, as opposed to just spamming out adepts early on. Okay, so Frogs is taking his most of his drones off gas except for one. And I definitely feel like Frogs is a player who likes his Lings. And as we do see 8 more of them on the way. So XII might have been able to tell that from the from just looking at the extractor there. And we actually have another evolution chamber coming up, so this looks like another Link Flood strat. Not sure how much I like this the third time around. Especially because like XII should be preparing for this, or like at least expecting it. This doesn't seem like the best thing to do. Right, and looks like XII will be sending an adept to go scout. And this could get some very important information, as these things are right here, so he should see them all. And Frogs does not have speed. Oh, actually, that's kind of... I'm not sure if that's a mistake from XII to leave that there. If Frogs had speed, he definitely could have surrounded that adept, and that would have been bad news. But at the meantime, we have these lings dropping out here of this drop overlord. Not a whole lot in the main. We do have one Mothership Core there. Photon Overcharge does go down, but these lings can avoid it if they want. And it's going to be a while before more energy is up on that Mothership Core. So they're picking away at these pylons now, trying to bust a door open to allow more lings to get in. This pylon is falling pretty quickly. Lings are flooding into the base now. Now this is going to be pretty tough for XII to deal with. He's not microing his units back. He can't really do a whole lot. Luckily, these gateways will get up for XII, so he will have some production, but the Mothership Core already used its overcharge. It's going to have to wait about 20 seconds for a new one. These lings are picking away at the probes, and the drone count is now even of the probes, which is at the bare minimum what Fergs wanted from this. And he might even end the game with this. These lings are getting a hell of a lot of kills. Just not the best reaction from Exiled. He just didn't have the units. He used his overcharge way too quickly, in my opinion. And he just like pretty much didn't crush this quick enough. Only 3 probes left on the map. That adept's actually not in position. The probes get in. These are the last of the probes going down. Last probe right there. And it's dead. Oh, just kidding. He built 2 more. There's one gone. But still, that's 90% of the probes have just died, at least. And yeah, that's a good game. Frogs takes that series 2-1 in a pretty impressive upset. So, starting off our next best of 3, we have down here in the bottom right side of the map, we have in teal. It is our Protoss player, Exiled. And up here in the top left, we have our competitive team captain himself. It is Riser. Alright, so this is a very rare opportunity in the Allinvitational where I get to cast a PvP. This doesn't happen very often, and this is between 2 pretty good players, so I'm actually interested to see how this goes down. We had to see a slight difference here in the build orders. Exile getting the Assimilator first, and I think Riser keeps alt-tabbing or something, or kept alt-tabbing because he keeps pinging space. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. Just don't alt-tab, and that doesn't happen. Right. And so we have another 2 gate opener actually here from Exile, following suit from last game. And same with Riser, but his second gateway is just a bit later. And I'm not sure if we could say that impacted the economies at all, because like the drone counts or probe counts, sorry, are the same. You know. Riser has 1 more worker, I think. Like, I don't think that really played into it. I think it might have just been like Exile rushed out of gateways, so his worker was behind by like 15 seconds or something dumb. Alright, so Exiled his probe, I was about to say SCV, his probe does come into main base here, and he sees pretty much everything that Riser has done. nothing really out of the ordinary. 2-gate is pretty common in PvP, of course. Very volatile matchup because it's a mirror matchup. And looks like Riser will be going for a Stargate behind us. We'll see if this is a 3-gate Stargate all-in, or if this is just an early Stargate for some pressure. As we can see, both players have yet to expand, and probably won't for quite a while, and both of these players keep alt-tabbing or something. Like, what the fuck? Or maybe, I'm not sure if people are speccing these games. Maybe that's what was going on. But anyways, Exiled Stalkers pick off a scouting probe, and something happened over here because one of the players pinged it. And Riser will be the first to expand. Like, stop. And actually, Exiled going for DTs this game. So, if these adepts can get in here and scout, that'll be very annoying, but Shade does not allow them into the base, so it doesn't look like they'll be seeing too much yet. Okay, the first 2 Shades are in here, and they're actually going to land right on top of that Dark Shrine. So Exiled should have full vision of that now. Plus, he's going to get a couple probe kills for his worry. And now we see, okay, so Exile's just getting like everything. He's getting a Stargate too. So it looks like Riser canceled his Stargate and is now going into a Robo facility, which is very good for him. He's going to be getting that Observer out, and that's going to allow him to spot those DTs. But at the same time, that's actually not all he has to worry about, as there is a proxied Oracle coming in there. Luckily, the Mothership Core is in position, along with some Stalkers, and it has energy for about 2 overcharges. Plus, you can see this pylon positioning, really great here by Riser. This is going to allow him to protect his probes, as long as he reacts quickly when that Oracle flies in. And he's actually going to spot that pretty much immediately, and those Stalkers even get a couple pot shots on it. Not doing too much damage to it, though. And I don't... Okay, we have a couple DTs warped in. And these DTs are going to head towards Riser's base. I really don't feel like this is going well for Exile. This is kind of a cheesy play here, and Riser is prepared for it, as he does have that Observer. Plus the Sentry, too. You know, he can block off the ramp if he needs to. But of course he doesn't. And let's see. And Photon Overcharge does go down. And pretty much no units lost here for Exiled. Everything from Riser, sorry, everything of Exiled dies pretty much immediately. Those 2 overcharges are really key there. And Exiled really just overextended that. And behind us, he doesn't have anything to fall back on. He doesn't have a second base. He's starting to run pretty low on minerals, as you can see. Only a couple hundred left in some of these patches. So he only has so much more energy, and that, like, more, sorry, I was gonna say, like, fuel in the tank, but for some reason I said energy. So he only has so much more fuel in the tank here to power whatever he's trying to do. And actually, Riser going for kind of a mistake here, heading out in the map. I really don't feel like he needed to do that. Photon Overcharge does go down, and that pylon will target down that Dark Templar. We do have some Zealots heading in here, though. Luckily, we will have some warp-ins here at home. I don't think these Zealots really are too big of a problem. Meanwhile, over here, these Stalkers are going to come up, and they probably will finish off Exile. We will have another Photon Overcharge available in just a couple seconds here if Exile is paying attention, and that does go down right before that Mothership Core does fall. And that's going to be enough here to stop this, and G is called, and Riser taking game number 1. Just a really safe play. He, you know, he just scouted and responded, and unfortunately Exiled's cheese didn't work out well for him. Alright. So, spawning down here, we have in the bottom right side of the map in the teal, playing Protoss, it is Exiled. And his Protoss counterpart up here in the top left, in the purple, it is Riser. Oh my god. Those pings are so fucking annoying. I'm gonna kill Riser, because 90% of them is him. I can tell because it's a purple ping. This is all Riser's fault. Stop it! Alright. So now we have Riser's probe, heading across the map and gonna try to get some scouting done. It doesn't look like Exiled is trying for any more cheesy or all-in-ish plays so far. And both players actually... Okay, so as I say that, Exiled throws down the second gateway. But that was not as early as it was last game. And, you know, Riser's just pinging some more over here just to piss me off. Yeah, I really feel like Riser's gateways here just a lot more... Or a lot more smoothly timed out with when they're placed. Not really like in Exiled's timing, because like, see, he doesn't build anything from this one for quite a while because he doesn't have the cyber core up. So it's like, why do you need to build them so quickly, right? Or at least two of them, right? Like you'd figured you want the second one just a bit later, as you can see with how Riser's has his set up. So the second one finishes pretty much as soon as the cyber core is done, which is ideal, obviously, because that's when you're going to build stuff from it. Yeah, Confed Riser. I don't even remember what the context of that meme was. But, alright, and Riser going for a expand, same with Exiled. Exiled actually had his up a bit earlier. Okay, and there's the first tech of choice here. Looks like Riser will be opening with a Stargate. Pretty safe choice in this matchup, I feel. As long as you react accordingly to what you see. The Stargate gives you a lot of versatility. You know, if you scout your opponent going for a Proxy Oracle, you get some Phoenix. If you notice your opponent going for an All-In, maybe you get a Void Ray. And then, you know, the Oracle is pretty much just a good all-around unit in most matchups. It just has so much versatility. And meanwhile, we have yet to see Exiled's choice of tech. If he's going to make one. Alright. And fucking Riser pinging again. Yeah, this, again, the play from this game kind of harps back on what I was talking about with what I feel Exiled's weak point is, being his build orders. I just feel like Riser has gotten to a more efficient point in the game than Exiled has. The only thing is that since Exiled got his Nexus up a bit quicker, you can notice that there is a slight probe advantage, and maybe he was going a bit more economic with his opening, but still, for tech-wise, Riser is very far ahead, as that Stargate's finished up for quite a while. We do have a Robo facility coming out, but that's not really going to do a whole much, and as long as this Oracle gets a couple of kills, it's going to be fine, but actually, it goes down pretty much right away. It does bait out two, or use two overcharges. Bait out is the wrong word. So, not a whole lot done with that, and even though I was talking about how I feel like Riser's getting to a better spot, his opening didn't pay off for him in the end there. If he got at least 2 or 3 probe kills, I feel like it would have been fine. But unfortunately, he did not. He will get some Void Rays out though for comfort. But I don't think Exiled is going to be too aggressive yet, as he doesn't really have anything to be aggressive with. He's getting a Twilight Council. He doesn't have a Void, or doesn't have a Warp Prism. Doesn't have any observers yet. Or he does have one. So this is the first observer hitting across the map for XII, and this will be the first glimpse of what he sees across the map. And this is really gonna, I think, impact what XII decides to do. And looks like we will have the first observer for Riser now. This will be pretty annoying if that observer from XII gets picked off. And I think XII is probably going to be going into Blink Stalker Disruptor. I think that's generally how he likes to play his PvP. He's getting some Immortals out right now, actually chronoing them out. And there we have the Robotics Bay. So we might even see a second Robo Bay as well. And Riser actually going for +1 air weapons. Not quite sure what's going on with that. I guess he's just going to build a lot of orders. Alright, so we have Blink on the way. Pretty much what I expected out of XII. He's just going to transition into this Blink Stalker Disruptor. Okay, so the second target is coming down. Be interesting to see if he just goes into carriers, or if he just sticks on maybe Void Ray and then some oracles and stuff added in here and there. See, it doesn't really have a whole lot of gateways, does he? Yeah, Riser only has 2 gateways right now. He has 2 more warping. And no fleet beacon in sight just yet. Riser's like Grandmaster, and Exiled is Masters 2, Masters 3. I'm not sure. So it's not like the biggest MMR gap. I don't know what their literal MMRs are. But I definitely feel like Exile can take a game if he wants off, or I guess not if he wants, but if he tries really hard off of Riser. Really just depends on how they're playing on the day of. Alright. So this is going to be one of those games where both sides just kind of sit back and macro for quite a while. Yeah, it looks like Riser's just going to continue to build up this air fleet. He's getting a bunch of gateways here now. He's probably going to get charged. Okay, so yeah, 600 MMR is still like a lot. I didn't realize Exile's MMR was that low. Yeah, I thought I think Exile has his really good days, and sometimes not so much. I feel that's pretty common in StarCraft though in general. I feel just having like days where you play, I guess, exceptionally well, or you know your performance is a lot better on a certain day because of whatever conditions. Alright, so charge on the way for both players. Charge zealots are just like so good. So really not surprised to see that. And actually, this is a really late game Disruptor drop. And he got a lot of kills there. I think he killed at least all of the Stalkers. And all those Immortals are really damaged. Neither player has yet got a 4th base. And Exile's actually floating quite a lot of minerals. I'm not sure what he's going to do with them. As you can see, so both players probably would be floating, but Riser, choosing to just spend his resources on static defense, which I feel like is a pretty good idea, especially after you've seen that your opponent is capable of dropping disruptors on you. And unfortunately, Exiled wasn't paying attention for a second there, neither was Riser, and that Oracle does eventually go down. This happened a couple weeks ago. It's still in the current patch, so that is nice. Means I don't have to reload too much. Alright, so it looks like we're going to have the first big fight of the game. Those Voider is actually almost targeting down one of those disruptors right away. There's only 3 of them with this army right now, so XII really has to be sparing with how he chooses to use them. Now, that's a lot of Blink Stalkers and Archons. This can definitely be pretty scary for XII. He does have a lot of charge lots though. And those Immortals definitely pack a punch as well. But some of them are pretty low. One Disruptor hit can kill quite a few of them. Now, XII really just doesn't have enough Disruptors. Ooh, just barely not getting that Disruptor off. He just hasn't been remaking them, and they got picked off pretty easily there by those Void Rays. Now we have to engage coming down. Those Void Rays in the sky are rendering so much damage to the ground below, and unfortunately it looks like XII just doesn't have the damage to deal with this. Those Immortals on the ground are too strong of an anchor for this to be dealt with. And unfortunately XII's going to get pushed back here. He's filling a lot of resources too, so I'm not sure how many gateways he has or what his production's like. But I feel like with that one engage, everything's kind of turned into Riser's favor. And especially with Riser going for so many Void Rays with his composition here, these Disruptors aren't really going to help out too much. Of course, they can kill all the Immortals on the ground, which would be great. But unfortunately, this Void Ray is just able to target them down so quickly, and there's not really a whole lot XII can do to this. Alright, and that Mothership Core actually gets picked off immediately, and that had full energy, so that's pretty devastating for XII here. And only a couple Archons left in the mix here, and they're trying to do their best to pick away at these Void Rays, but unfortunately these Void Rays have so much damage, and they're not going to die to such a small number of Archons. And I think that's going to be game here, maybe? Can XII hold this back? No, this tournament's only for members of All In. You can submit an application if you'd like. Alright, so these Void Rays is actually kind of overextending here. Some good target fire. XII can kill quite a few of them. But of course, Void Rays do very well versus Stalkers. And they even have their alignment ability, whatever the hell that's called. I don't even know what the hell that does, I just know it makes them shoot more or something. And back at home, as we can see, Riser's doing pretty well. He has a pretty good economy going. XII did lose a base, but looks like he did throw away a lot of his units near the end there. Still though, Riser has a distinct advantage, obviously. He has those a fleet beacon now, and he can start producing carriers if he'd like. Not sure if he will, he's just going to produce some Void Rays for now. Okay, so we finally have +2 air weapons on the way. And a Dark Shrine as well for Riser. We actually have a Dark Shrine here from Exiled, but he hasn't really used it that much except to make Archons. I'd like to see him... I mean, I know Riser has been building cannons, but it still would be nice to see him trying to do some damage. And this army from Riser looking pretty strong, but double the army supply of Exiled. And I don't actually know where Exiled's army is. Okay, there it is. He just doesn't have the production to match what Riser has. Especially after losing so much. And if that Nexus going down over there, like, that was a pretty big blow to Exiled's economy. Another Nexus goes down. And pretty decent Disruptor hit, kills a decent amount of units, chunks away at some of these Archons. But now the Archons are going to get a concave at the top of this ramp, and it's going to be pretty hard for Exiled to march up it. And Riser moves in for the kill. Big Disruptor hit actually going down though, but will there be enough left to clean up what's remaining here for Riser in the sky? And a couple Archons are raining some damage down on these Void Rays, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Or will it? Alright, so it looks like Exile might hold on just barely again. Actually, move commanding these Stalkers a bit. Kind of a mistake there. I felt like that could have been cleaned up a bit easier, but... Okay, so finally everything gets cleaned up again, but... just... I really don't know what to say here. I feel like this is just continuing to go in Riser's favor. Counterattack down here at the bottom left area. These Zealots picked up quite a few amount of kills. Probably all, or almost all, was probes. And they're going to clean away at this Nexus, even though that Dark Templar will eventually kill most of them. And now Riser's down to 1 mining base. So, or not Riser, sorry, Exile. Bleh. And at this point, Riser can probably just keep throwing away his Zealots. And pretty much do whatever the hell he feels like. I think it's funny, you can tell this is a Protoss game because the APMs really go above beyond like 200. Yo, was that a rare image of Riser going above 50 APM? Yeah, and Riser's probably just going to continue to suicide these Zealots in here. And, you know, every probe kill he gets is even better for him. And these Zealots are very disposable, obviously. Meanwhile, back at home, he's pretty much building only High Templars. And that's a lot of Archons here. Riser actually doesn't have any of the shield upgrades. Exile actually has +2 shields. But Exile also only has like 50 supply. So I guess if he has some really good Archon macro, maybe he can take out all of Riser's Archons, but I think it's going to be a tough one. Yeah, and hopefully Riser can finish off this game here, because this is getting a bit painful. And this looks to be the final engagement. Exiled Zealots coming up the ramp through that Time Warp, desperately trying to find some damage, but unfortunately none to be found. And GG is called, and Riser are going to take that series 2-0. Okay, so starting off our next series, this one's going to be between Frugs and Riser. So we have here spotting up in the top right side of the map, we have in the purple, it is Riser. And down here we have our Zerg player down in the bottom left playing as the, or playing into pink, it is Frugs. Well, I don't know what it is tonight. I'm just, can't think of my words. I was actually planning on getting drunk and casting all these games, but I decided against it because I don't really have that much alcohol. And I don't want to get like just half drunk. I'd like to get a, you know, get a decent buzz going. So I don't think I'm going to try. Alright, so it looks like Riser has sent one of his probes across the map. Definitely looking to see what's up with Frugs, as Frugs did upset in the first game of, of tonight, beaten out Exiled. who I would say is definitely considered a favored player in the Frogs versus XL matchup. Now, Riser is definitely a much more favored player, but maybe Frogs has some really nice cheeses he can bust out, some pretty sick builds. We'll have to see. So it doesn't look like there's anything too out of the ordinary. That probe's just getting some more scouting information. It does see that it was pretty reasonably timed spawning pool and hatchery there. So nothing too crazy going on. And looks like this will be again the same build. Frog's really liking this build. I was talking him up so much, saying like, "Oh, Frogs has all these really cool builds. He'll cheese you. He'll out macro you. He'll do something crazy," and he just does the same ling drop build every game. It's the power of ling drops. They just keep working even when you know he's doing it to you. Okay, so looks like Riser will have his first adept out on the map now. And Riser is also getting a Stargate behind this, and that's a pretty good deterrent for these like ling drop builds. If you can get an Oracle and keep it at home, it just kills so many Zerglings. It's not even funny. And there's like no way the Zerg player ever really gets efficiency out of sending Zerglings where the Oracle is. And then, you know, you get one Oracle to deal with the Zerglings, and then you just get a Phoenix after that, and you can clean up all the Dropper Lords. So that way you only have to worry about one entry into the base. Okay, so it looks like Frogs will start dropping out these lings over here, and Riser actually has no clue about this. And the more lings that pile up here, the better. Actually looks like Frog's going to jump the gun a bit here, and he's just going to head right into the mineral line. These Zerglings, oh, they're actually going for the pylon here for the Stargate. This could be disastrous if that goes down. That means no Oracle, that means no Phoenix, and that Stargate is now unpowered, and there's only one gateway producing units, I believe. Yeah, only one gateway. No Mothership Core. Mothership Core is on the way, and it looks like Frogs might have snuck another win out of a Protoss player in this tournament. Holy crap. I'm not going to talk shit about Frogs doing the same build anymore, because, like, it keeps working. Okay, so we have down here in the bottom right side of the map, we have in the purple plane Protoss, it is Riser. And up left, we have the surprising winner of our last series. In the top left, in the pink, it is Frogs. Okay, now... If there was a time for Frogs not to do that build, I definitely feel like this is the time. But I mean, like, I'm just not going to talk about it. Frogs can do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, it keeps working. CTL Weekly Band Edition. I think that'd be good if you all like wore like eye patches on camera or something. Looked like a bunch of thugs or like terrorists or something. I don't know. Alright. I'm not sure if we had... Okay, there's a probe scout. And, Frogs actually tried to surround that probe, which is pretty funny. Definitely can be pretty annoying. If that were to work. But I feel like Riser's paying enough attention that he'd quickly just mineral walk away. I don't know how loud that was, but sorry about that. Just need to drink some water. Keep my throat nice and hydrated so I can continue to cast. Because we got a long night ahead of us. I'm going to at least finish the entire group. I probably won't do any more after that. Normally 2 hours is like the max I can go for casting before my throat starts to hurt too much and my brain starts to lose the ability to think up new words to say. Now, again, same build. No surprise. Same build from Riser too. He is going for that Stargate. So, if Rugs can get that Stargate again, that's going to be really crappy for Riser. And Riser is building an Adept out here at the Natural, and we do have that drop alert on the way. And I don't think Riser has scouted this. We do have an Adept coming in here. Oops. And it's scouting out, trying to see what's up. Really nice extractor cancel there. And one thing I really wish Frogs would do is just let these Lings pile up. Okay, I guess he wants to attack from two sides at once, force Riser to fight at two places at the same time. And this time he's actually opting to attack for the pylon in the wall, but there is two Adepts out, and Riser pulls like a perfect amount of probes to come deal with this. These gateways do get unpowered, but meanwhile, almost all the Lings are back at home for Frogs. They're trying to deal with that Adept at home. And now, if Riser wants to, he can wall this off. We do have a pylon up here now, and he will be able to photon overcharge that. Of course, there is a dropper lord here, so he can just keep dropping into the main. But at the same time, there is also an Oracle on the way. We don't have any Oracles out currently. And Riser's doing a really good job just responding. He realizes that it's fine to lose a couple probes here and there, as long as he stops the 12 Lings from getting too unmanageable. And no photon overcharge for this Punish Cord just yet. There's a full wall off though, so this is going to mean that no reinforcements for the Lings coming in here. And these Adepts and Stalkers are getting a lot of free damage off and killing quite a few Lings. I think this is going to be hell. I will finish this group. I promise you that. Alright, and Riser actually feeling ballsy enough to send that Oracle out on its own to go feed itself some drone kills. Riser doing a really good job defending this. It is looking a lot more manageable this time around. Frogs is Diamond 1. I don't know what his exact MMR is. I'm sure Tech4 will post that in the chat in a minute. And yeah, this Oracle is going to come over here, and just killing one Queen is fine. Like, that is actually perfect. Yeah, he can kill both of these, maybe. No, I think that Queen can force him back. I'm not sure if that Queen will get the kill, but still, killing that Queen, that's going to lower the amount of Lings that Frogs can produce, even if he had the minerals to produce them, by quite a lot. And at this point in time, though, I feel like Riser has this in the bag. Or at least this game. Next game, if there is one, is another story. Another Oracle heading across the map now, and there's no Overlord speed. So that means that it's going to take quite a while for this Dropper Lord to get in here, and really nicely timed there by Riser, just pulling back at just the last second. And that Overlord just does not have enough health. There's no way he can actually get up there before that Stalker shoots it down. Alright, and we do have a Spore Crawler though, but just the existence of these Oracles is going to force these drones to be pretty cautious when they mine. And he's actually placing his Stasis Ward, so it's only going to get one drone, but... Frog's doing some pretty good micro. I'm pretty sure Frog said he would play in CTL if we wanted them to. And that's actually a really good Stasis Trap. Gets 5 or 6 drones there, and a Queen. but still that Spore Crawler is still active in the main base. And meanwhile, Frog's really not progressing here. He's not doing anything because he can't do anything. I think he's just trying to drone up here and get his economy back into a semblance of order. Right, and now Riser is head out on the map, and okay, I guess Frogs is just gonna call that one. Maybe he'll show us a nice fight. Okay, so he gets a pretty big wraparound with all these Lings, but that's a hell of a lot of adepts, and now these Oracles are in here for some support, and they're just gonna clean up everything with Frogs. I'm glad that Frogs let us watch all that happen, because that would be pretty lame if he just like tapped out immediately. You know, give us a show. Good guy, Frogs. Oops. Sorry, I'll get in game here in a sec. Alright. So, spawning down here in the bottom right side of the map, we have in the purple playing Protoss, it is Riser. And up here in the top left, we have in pink playing Zerg, it is Frogs. So, will we see Frogs pulling off the same build again? Maybe so. I don't remember if you want to hatch first or cool first in all these games, but like, I don't think it matters that much. He can probably still do this very similar build, even if he's pool or hatch first. Oops. Not a lot to talk about this game until some of the actual action starts happening soon. I am pretty excited to see though if Frogs can pull an upset. That would be. I actually don't know what the results in most of these games are. Like obviously I have the replays, but I haven't looked at like who won which individual games because these were round robin groups. So you know. It isn't obvious who won which games just by the scores. And I just spilled Red Bull down my shirt. Fuck. This is uncomfortable. Alright, so that is mostly cleaned up. There is still some Red Bull on my chest. I can feel it, but we will deal with that later. And it does look like that same build as we see. Frogs pretty much only gets one drone on the natural here and has like a fully saturated main. There we go. Evo chamber is down. 8 Lings were started. But we do have a couple of drones following this up, so I guess he just wants these 8 Lings to control the map first. Obviously don't want to just spam Lings out until you can see what's up. And Riser actually going to get control of that watchtower. That doesn't really see the path of the Lings going across though. And what the hell was that drone doing? I think that was a bit of a miss rally. Alright, and actually these Lings get in. I missed that. So these Lings do get in, but it's not going to be the most impactful. I think these probes should be able to fight them off, but oh, this is actually pretty bad for Riser. If Frogs just keeps focusing down these pylons, then he can't build any units. And that Stargate is in the wall too, so that means that there's going to be no units here for Riser. He's going to have to fight with all those probes. photon overcharge does go down on that pylon, but it gets taken down pretty quickly. And as long as Frogs just keeps targeting down these pylons and making sure they don't get up, and then bringing out enough links to kill these probes, he can take this. He can take this series. So some of these lings do get trapped in there. There's an adept so close to finishing. Frogs is gonna dive on top of this pylon, but I think that adept will finish before it gets taken down. So close. Okay, so the adept does get out. But still, Frogs can take out some more of these pylons, and that's going to force so much lost mining time. It's going to force so many of these probes to fight and die here. So many of them going down. The worker counts are now even, and actually, Riser going down to 12 workers. 10 more lings on the way, and GG is called. Frogs taking the best of 3 off of Riser. That should go on a Ligulac. I'm actually very surprised that happened. I was expecting, like, because obviously when I cast, like, I see all their replays, so I was like, oh hey, look, there's 3 replays here. It looks like Frogs took a game. That's pretty cool. He probably did something really crazy, and then Riser bopped him for the other 2 games. But nope. Whoops. Okay. So this game we're going to be going into is Tech 4 versus Frogs. So spun up here, we have in the top right, in the pink, it is our winner of the last series. It is Frogs. Down here in the bottom left, we have Blame for CTL Pro. It is Eat My Diction. Oh my god. This is like... This is probably one of the worst, or one of the stupidest things I've seen today. Oh god. Alright, so... yeah, start off the CBZ. Frog's actually going for a pretty early hatchery, not getting that spawning pool up, which is kind of a mistake, as we see that Eat My Diction, otherwise known as Tech 4, has gone for a spawning pool. So he's going to have some links out pretty early. He can poke and prod, be more aggressive in this game, and we'll have to see how Frogs reacts to that. Alright. So this is probably one of the more evenly skilled matchups for this group. But of course I say that, and like in the last game we had Frogs taking down Riser 2-1. Like, that's pretty interesting actually. He's getting that spine crawler, but it's a blind one. So like, he didn't drone scout, so he didn't see what was on across the map. I guess maybe if Tech 4 is going to be flooding links this game, he just wants the spine crawler to stay at home and defend while his lings are out in the map, but I'm not sure. Maybe he cancels that if nothing comes up as ramp soon. And then, you know, that's not too big of an investment. Let's see what happens. Okay, so he just let it finish. Interesting. I guess too, this is actually kind of more, when you think about it, this is a bit more larva efficient than getting a couple Zerglings. As long as this is in position, this can ward off like 4 or 5 Zerglings. But like, for example, if you wanted to build 4 Zerglings of your own, that's obviously going to take up 2 larvae. This is more expensive in terms of money, I believe. Because what a spawn crawler costs like 75, 100, plus like the cost of the drone. So yeah, that's actually not inefficient, in my opinion. I think that's fine. It's pretty cool. And these players played on Game Heart. Thank you. Now Frog's actually going for pretty greedy third hatch this game. He's playing quite the macro game, which is not something you normally see in the ZVZ. And looks like Frog's first lings are going to hit out on the map here. So we'll see what he wants to do. So Tech4 actually is going for the Evo Chamber this game. Probably not going to be for Overlord drops. This is probably going to be more for getting the quick +1 melee or armor. And yep, looks like it's going to be melee. Right. And sends one ling up there just to scout. Which, you know, it's always great to do. Because a lot of players obviously like leave bane lanes at the tops of ramps to deal with whatever might head up. So it's generally good to just, you know, send one ling up to scout. So this game looks like Tech4 is going to mass a hell of a lot of Zerglings. He's going to have +1 melee in time. And Frog's instead going for a Roach Warren. Now, as long as Frogs can wall off and defend the space, as long as he walls off his natural somewhat efficiently, like, you know, puts something there and then like has enough space that the roaches can leave, he's going to be fine. But Tech4, he's really has no interest in playing a long game, it looks. Or at least a long game in which Frogs had a comfortable macro game. So it looks like Tech4 is going to pressure this hatchery, and Frogs really just doesn't have enough units here to come fight this. So this hatchery is going down 100%. And some not the greatest bane lane hits here from Tech4 actually, but I think they do their job well enough. And still no roaches out yet for Frogs. He's had that roach one for quite a while. Some lings and banes from Frogs heading across the map now. But I feel like Tech4 has definitely got the better end of the stick, or whatever the metaphor is. So Frogs is going to try to pick away at this hatchery. Not too much going to get done because of this. The hatchery will go up fine and dandy. I don't even know if those Balians killed a single fucking thing. And, alright, so Ferg's getting his third base up. A lot more lings coming out here for Tech4. Looks like he just wants to stick on those lings and banes, which is fine as long as you get good surrounds. And ideally, I think you want upgrades on the lings, right? +1 armor would probably be good. Oh, that Frogs cancels that hatchery at the last second. That could have been pretty bad though. Tech4 definitely could have cancelled that if he wanted. Why is W watching him up? I don't know. Alright, so Tech4 going in here. He has a hell of a lot of Zerglings. And that one Balian shot was pretty impressive. I don't know how many lings went down, but looks like he got a decent hit. And now Frogs is forced to stay on 2 base. Though the thing is, though, he has roaches. Which like is technologically superior to the Zergling. But enough Zerglings and with good enough upgrades, Zerglings are still fine in this matchup. Looks like we have a little bit of an engage going down. These roaches trying to come out here. They actually probably won't get hit by these Balians too badly. One even might go down there. No, those Balians can waddle away. Alright, so looks like Tech's just controlling the game with his Zerglings. And this is really forcing Frogs into an uncomfortable position. The thing is, like, okay, Frogs hits +1/+1 on these roaches, so they're going to be pretty strong. If Tech4 can get a good surround, if he can get some good bane lane connections, he can definitely hold this third base. But it's going to be tough. Especially with the bane lanes of Frogs, Frogs' self, however that's said. Alright, so all these links coming in. Oh my god, there's some pretty huge bane lane connects. But the bane lanes of Tech4 are coming in now, and these roaches are not spread too well. Still, they are lasting the storm. There is queens, there is a spine crawler about to plant itself down here, and spine crawlers don't do too shabby versus roaches. And it looks like that'll just barely be enough to hold this back. I'm not sure. Meanwhile, counterattack here has cancelled Frogs' third base. But still, Tech4 is at a distinct disadvantage here with Frogs' superior upgrades on these roaches. He's going to trade pretty well with these lings. And Tech 4, as you can see, his economy is not doing too great, even though he does have the 3 base. His drone count's just a bit lower. And these Zerglings are just not trading cost efficiently. +1 carapace finally finished, but these roaches are going to come over here and they will probably kill this base at the least. Alright, so Tech 4's Zerglings are running in here. They're getting some pretty good surrounds on most of these roaches. Frog's pulling these roaches back into a better position here. But more reinforcements are on the way, and these Lings are just not suited to deal with these roaches too well. Another queen falling. These roaches getting into a great position behind these minerals. It's going to make trading in here very inefficient for Tech 4. And more roaches on the way too, so just going to be a continued onslaught here. Even though Frogs doesn't have a third base, he's just been able to macro like pretty standardly on roaches behind this. Alright, so Tech 4 trying for one last hurrah, it looks like. These roaches backing up into a corner. Frogs do some great micro there, morphing those really low roaches into Ravagers. And really just fucking up the pathing of those Zerglings. And now he has some full health Ravagers here in the mix as well. And he'll use those to target down some of those spine crawlers. Roaches are marching up the ramp and they will pick off these queens. And with those queens, I think there goes the game. Mineral line is exposed, and CTL Pro Eat My Diction has lost the first map of this series. Alright, so we'll be getting into game 2 here in just a minute. Okay. So, down here, our winner of the last set, playing in the pink, it is Frogs. And up here in the top left, playing for CTL Pro, it is Tech 4. Alright. So it looks like this game Frogs will be the one opening up with the aggressive spawning pool here. And we'll have to see what he decides to go about and do with that. Alright, so Tech opened with a spawning pool first at a more standard timing, so I feel like Tech's going to be fine as long as he just makes enough links to weather the storm. Natural hatchery coming down now. And we do have our metabolic boost on its way here for Frogs, along with 6 Zerglings. Now, we won't have speed on the way for Tech 4 for quite some time, as he doesn't have any gas. He's actually just started binding it. But as long as he has a queen and some Zerglings, he should be fine. And actually, he's going to make a spine crawler this game as well. So it looks like this is something that Tech likes to do in ZVZ. That's pretty neato, I guess. Interested to see how it does well versus what I think it's supposed to be for, which is like a 12 pool or a 13 pool, whatever this was. I'm just going to say a quick pool. Alright, so Frogs has done a good job of going underneath the scouting path of those overlords. Or not going underneath, I should say. And he's been able to get himself around here, and he's actually going to pick out this queen, which is a pretty big deal this early on. And he's actually going to start picking away at the spine crawler before it's done morphing. About 50 points of damage done to it, so that's pretty good. And now some Baleen's morphing in, and Baleen's do very well versus spine crawlers. Taking some decent trades. Frogs has some pretty good micro in these fights, actually. You can see him targeting down the weakened Zerglings. Though, end of the day, looks like these Baleen's will get up the ramp. And they are actually going to get into the mineral line. Will we see any drones go down? No, we will not. As far as I know. Okay. One went down. That might have been from earlier, though. We don't know. So that's a lot of Zerglings lost, and Frogs didn't accomplish what he did. Or what he wanted. So this is going to be pretty tough for him. And Tech 4's pretty much done what you need to do. Just keep building lings. And make sure you can't die to anything. Because obviously, Frogs isn't just going to be like, well, time to macro, haha. Like, he realizes that he needs to get some damage done. So, 90% of the time, you keep making lings. You try to take some good engagements, force your opponent to lose too many units to some Balians, and maybe you can put yourself in a decent spot. Now we see Tech 4 finally joining up as he does realize that he is pretty safe as he has a couple Balians and some Spire Crawlers in position, so he's not going to take too much damage to anything. And at the in the meanwhile, Tech 4 is heading across the map and he sees that there is an opening here. If these Queens get too out of position, he definitely can run in here and do some damage. But some Balians morphing will mean that Tech 4 will have to be careful. And a Roach Warren coming down here for Tech 4. So that'll mean that he will have access to some roaches later on. And I feel like after you've beaten your opponent, or after you've beaten off an opponent's early like aggression like this, just getting that Roach Warren is so, like, that's a nail in the coffin, where like it's so hard to do damage to them. And Tech 4 is sitting pretty back at home for the most part. Nice reaction there by Frogs, actually. Tech 4 is trying to bait 5 or 6 slings into that bane lane, but Frogs pulls those back and makes the bane lane connect onto his own bane lanes, which are now weak. Good night, Kira. Alright. So yeah, things are looking not so great for Frogs. Tech 4 actually even advancing all the way into a layer. So he will be able to get roach speed and get some more upgrades rolling, as you will be able to get +2. I think that's what you need for +2 is a layer, right? I don't play Zerg, so that, like, I don't know how that works. I'm assuming that's how it works. And now Frogs is putting down his own Roach Warren and Evo Chambers, so he will be getting roaches of his own, plus some upgrades soon enough. Tech 4 actually getting in a pretty big supply block here. That's going to be pretty annoying. Okay. I thought that made sense. And Frogs' Zerglings waiting for their mother to buy them some candy from the end of the store or something. I don't know. And now we have the first roaches popping out here. Luckily, Frogs did decide to go into roaches as opposed to staying on just lings, as we've seen how that worked in the last game. But for the other player. Oops. And now Tech 4 is starting to head across the map. He has a decent amount of lings and banes. I really like when Zerg players go for like Roach Bane. It just adds a bit more versatility to the composition, where it's like, it's not just a pure numbers game. It's also kind of, I don't want to say luck, but like, you know, the situation might change favorably for you if you take a good engage. And, you know, if your opponent just doesn't split his roaches very well or doesn't run back, then these Balins can get quite a lot of damage done on these roaches. I mean, Balins do pretty decent versus roaches. Alright, one Balin does hit a bunch of Tech 4's Balins, and that will connect with a hell of a lot of them. But Tech 4's Balins will continue to roll through. Tech 4's Roaches pushing up this ramp. A lot of Balin detonations going down, and it looks like this will just barely force Frogs back. as this is a very sharp timing here, as Tech 4 has +1, Frogs is not. And behind us we have some more roaches coming up. More lings on the production tab for now. And now Tech 4 is back into the roaches. Tech 4 trying to pick off that roach run, but speed does finish. So not the biggest of deals. That spine crawler is repositioning. Tech 4 does have the bit of concave here, so as you can see, a couple of Frogs' roaches having to take a bit more time to get in position to fight. And it looks like Tech 4 with the numbers advantage here, with the position advantage, is going to take out that roach warren and probably will take this game very shortly. And GG, well played is called. And Tech 4 are going to take out Frogs. Well, not take them out, but takes a step. So we're on to the last map of this series. Just one sec. Okay, before we start this one, I just need to get some more water and go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back now. Now time to go into game 3 of this best of 3. So everything's tied up at 1-1. So this will be the deciding match for the series. So, spawning up here, we have in the top left in the pink, it is Frogs. And down here we have in the bottom left, in the orange, it is Tech 4. This map is noticeably harder to render on my computer. I get like 70 FPS instead of 80 on high while streaming. And it looks like Tech 4 is going to be going for a hatch first this game. Pretty ballsy move, especially as we see over here. This is a 14 pool or 12 pool or something, early pool. And from this, we know that there's just going to be lots and lots of lings on the way. Tech 4 going for pretty ballsy play. Of course, you can hold this off, even if it going for a pool first. This is not a build order loss. Tech 4 can be perfectly fine from this. And as we see, Frog's actually putting up a hatchery of his own behind this, so he's not going completely all in. I think ideally what he hopes to do is cancel the hatchery that might be building, or at the very least defend any aggression that Tech 4 might be sending out. And Tech 4 spawn pool is about to finish. It will finish pretty much just as soon as these lings start scratching out this hatchery. Now, Tech 4 might have to cancel this unless he pulls the drones pretty much immediately. Looks like he's not going to pull the drones. He's going to wait until this is a bit lower in health. And, oh, he's actually going to let it finish. This is the tough one. Maybe Tech 4 wants to use it to buy as much time as he can, because he knows there could just very well be only lings on the production tab. We do see, though, Frog's building some more drones back at home. And, you know, as I said, he's not completely all in with this. You know, he can drone up behind this. He's perfectly fine doing that. That's 300 minerals for Tech 4 down the drain, and a much delayed hatchery. And yeah, Frog's perfectly fine with this. Right. So, and it also shows you just like how many lings you're forced to build when you your opponent goes for a build like this. Tech 4 can't just build drones and like drone up even more behind this. He knows he has to build a certain amount of lings, or else like he runs the risk of Frog just running in with more lings and killing them. It's really a guessing game, a poker game, if you will. Alright, so Tech 4 is running his lings up here. I think this is a bit of a bad decision. He might lose a couple there. Not too many died, luckily. And his speed has finished. Actually, Frogs didn't even start speed of his build. And as we can see, Frogs going into roaches behind us. I don't know where that roach one is. Okay, there it is. Frogs is in a pretty good position now. As you can see, he has some good positioning on these lings. Spine color by there to protect here. Some queens as well. So Tech 4 is really not going to get any damage done. I think what Tech 4 is hoping to accomplish is just to get some information, poke and prod, maybe force Frogs to accidentally build a couple more lings than he'd like to. And meanwhile, Frogs' his economy is doing pretty decent. He has a lower drone count than Tech 4 does, though. But he has had that hatchery up for a bit longer than Tech 4 has, since he killed the first one. It looks like Tech 4 is starting +1 melee again this game. Not sure how I feel about that. Okay, and Frogs is starting +1 range. Frogs actually has kind of a bad rally set up here. I guess that can be good. That'll be good in one specific scenario where Frogs has roaches there and Tech 4's lings run up the ramp and they have to run all the way around just to fight the roaches. But in any other scenario, that's a bad rally. Alright, so a couple lings run in here. They pick up a queen, but at the cost of 4 or 5 zerglings. I'm not sure if that was worth it for just a queen. But at least it lets Tech 4 see what Frogs is building. And he knows that Frogs is building roaches. And it's fine to let the +1 finish. Like, in fact, I think it's better to. We'll see if he decides to... Okay, so Tech 4 is going into a Spire. So this is perfectly fine to keep building lings and banelings. Because ideally, you don't care about roaches. You just want mutalisks, obviously. So you're going to want to build a lot of your less gas-intensive zerglings, which have decent upgrades because they have +1. And you use those to just buy time and reposition quickly to deal with the roaches. He's even building a couple spine crawlers, which is really good. This lets you just have so much more versatility. Or not versatility, but survivability is what I guess is the right term. But that's a lot of roaches. And if Tech 4's Spire isn't done in time, which it probably won't be by the time these roaches get there, then they're going to do a hell of a lot of damage. And even if there's mutalisks on the field attacking these roaches, these roaches are still going to have plenty of time to kill a lot of stuff. And Tech 4 sees them coming across the map. And this prompts him to build a couple more spine crawlers. So these first lings from Frogs are going to get picked away at. That's a lot of roaches coming up here. 5 spine crawlers. Not a lot of zerglings here either for Tech 4. Okay, so there we go. Small zerglings coming down from the main. And some queens coming in to help out with the fight. These spine crawlers are doing as much as they can. 3 more spines right up at the finish. But these roaches can just run right past them. And, you know, these spine crawlers mean nothing if they're not in range. Couple drones going down. Mulis are on the way, and if these Mulis can get out and Tech 4 doesn't take too much damage done, he can be at a great position in this game. As you can see, Frogs has nothing back at home as far as anti-air goes, except for Queens. So 7 Mulis can be deadly. But it looks like these Roaches will be able to pick off this hatchery. And finally, the Mulis do pop out. These Roaches are going to try to run up into the main. I think these Mulis will be fine. Tech 4 does have a third base, though, and that's something that Frogs doesn't have. So a couple spores have started at home. That Roach actually does get into the middle line and then gets out of it. I think that was on the wrong hotkey. But yeah, Tech 4 needs to head across the map ASAP. He needs to get some damage done and try to make up for the amount of stuff he lost. Now, Tech 4's still in a good position, mind you. He has a decent amount of drones. He's actually ahead in drones from Frogs. I think Frogs is really hoping to kill with that. But yeah, these the thing is, like, these Mulis aren't great in a straight up fight if Frogs can get to Hydralisks, or if he gets biled somehow, which I don't think will happen. Alright, so Spore Crawler will go down, doesn't get transfused. There was enough energy for one. One Mulis actually does fall. Actually. And now these Mulis are just going to continue to be annoying. There's a lot of Overlords on the map for Frogs. So that's a lot of potential resources lost there for Tech 4. Or for Frogs by Tech 4. Yeah, Frogs is very liberal with his Overlord placement, as you can see. Which is great if your opponent doesn't have anything to deal with them. But once it does happen and you don't have speed, these Overlords are all dead. And I just spilled water on myself too. I'm fucking retarded. I might as well be drunk. Alright, so Burrow is started here for Frogs. That can be pretty annoying actually when you're fighting against Roaches, when you are playing the Needles player. Because the Roaches take a long time to die. And if they can burrow, like, you know, they regen their health a lot quicker, and that can be pretty annoying, especially if they have tunneling claws. I'm not sure if Frogs will be going for that. And there we go. Basically, every Overlord has been cleaned up over the map. And I don't know what Frogs hopes to accomplish here. He's on 2 base to Tech 4's 3. Tech 4 has a better drone count. He has, at this moment in time, better tech. And he will continue to have better tech as he is getting a Lurker den, as well as Hydralisks. And, oh wow. I didn't realize that he didn't have Roach speed. I feel like the Ravagers are just kind of a waste of gas. Don't the... I think Mules do more damage to them because they're not armored, right? Yeah, like look how much damage they do to a single Ravager. And that's a very expensive pick-off. Ravagers ain't cheap. These Mules are going to come in here and they're going to pick off some more Ravagers. Every Ravager that dies here is a huge amount of money for Frogs down the drain that he just really can't afford to replace. Some more Queens getting picked off there. There's a couple Spore Crawlers, in the mineral lines, but that's not going to be enough to ward off the Mutalisks. And these Mutalisks can just continue to fight here, continue to do damage. And there's some Infestors going to pop soon, but they don't have they don't have the ability, or pathogen glands, that's it. They don't have pathogen glands. A huge amount of drones going to get hit there as they try to transfer to the natural. One Infestor does pop. But this isn't a test map. They don't have their anti-air infested Terrans. I don't think these Infestors are going to have enough time to get enough energy for a Fungal. As it's 75 energy for Fungal, if I recall. I can't actually look at the ability stuff. And Tech 4 also has an Overseer here, so he can't actually see the Brood Infestors. Whether or not he targets them down is another thing. And of course, Tech 4 doesn't know that they don't have pathogen glands. They should have enough money or energy for a Fungal now if they so choose to. And we do see one going down. No Corrosive Bowels to follow that up though. And only about 4 of them getting picked up or getting hit by that Fungal. And he actually picks off the only Infestor that had enough energy for a Fungal. So these 2 Infestors are going to be worthless for the time being. And they actually get picked off pretty quickly. Tech 4 is just going to continue to precision snipe every important unit from this army. As Frogs has pretty much no way of countering this with his low economy. He can't transition into any sort of tech to deal with this. I really tried to, but it's not going to work out. And that's going to be it. Tech 4 taking that series 2-1. Alright, so we're going to be moving on to our next series of this round robin group. And that will be Riser versus Tech 4. So, I'm hoping to see a strong performance out of Tech 4 in this game, but we have up here his opponent. It is Riser, the Grandmaster Purple Protoss player. And we have the challenger in the bottom right in the orange. It is Tech 4. Going by his yeah, I mean, like, so if Frugs beats Riser and Tech 4 beats Frugs, does that mean that Tech 4 beat Riser as well? Alright. So this should be, I feel like this is probably going to be a very Riser-favored game. Because Tech 4 doesn't really like to cheese as much in PvZ, I feel, or at least that I've seen. He is this game, but he normally doesn't. He's going for that early pool. Gonna try to cancel that Nexus. And we do see the first 6 lings on the way. And Riser, of course, should be alarmed by the fact that he sees no natural. And this probe will come up and it will spot the pool. And it will see those 3 eggs. And he knows what those mean. It ain't time for breakfast. It's time for Zerg Russian. And Riser doing a good job keeping that probe alive, as it is important to see what the follow-up is to this. As of course, this normally doesn't kill. This just puts you behind, if done right. But Riser didn't go for a Nexus first or anything like that, so he's just going to build another pylon. He's going to build another gateway. He's just going to block off his ramp with the Zealot, and he should be okay. Now, this does, of course, have the advantage of delaying the Nexus for quite a while, but as you can see from the worker count, this also does affect your drone production quite a bit. Now, these lings can just keep picking away at this wall and force that Zealot to come out, and if they're lucky, force it out too much. Now, 2 Zealots out should be enough to fight off these lings, especially with that probe helping out. And we do have a mothership going away too, more adepts on the way. And somehow these Zerglings managed to sneak their way in. But I really don't feel that these Zerglings are going to accomplish too much. As we do have a couple adepts out, a couple Zealots, and a mothership core, most importantly. There's no pylon, or okay, there's one pylon. In a great position, Riser forces all his probes into that gas. And all in all, this rush didn't pan out the way Tech 4 hoped. These lings won't even get to kill this pylon. It's pretty damaged. And more lings on the way, unfortunate for Tech 4. Those could have been drones. But he was hoping for a little more. Hoping he could do something better. A couple more lings getting picked off there. Alright, so from this point, Tech 4 is pretty far behind. We do have another Nexus coming down here for Riser. Now, Tech 4 can redrone, as of course Zerg can produce workers at an absurdly high rate, but that's only if left alone. And I doubt Riser's going to leave him alone. And now we have 2 Zealots and 2 Adepts coming in here, and they're probably going to make short work of all these workers here in the natural, and that will reset the worker count for Tech 4. Those Zealots just going to town on those workers. 2 Adepts now in the main. Just going to continue to pick away at the workers. And this is very annoying for Tech 4 to have to deal with. Especially now that we see his lings on the other side of the map getting absolutely nothing done. And at this point in time, I feel like the game has definitely gone to Riser. Of course, Tech 4 can still drone up pretty heavily if he wants, but with these two Zealots in the natural, they're going to kill all the drones that'll pop. And just continue to be really annoying. And this is going to force Tech 4 to make even more Queens and even more Zerglings. He does have 2 Spines now, so he should be okay versus those Zealots. But still, Riser has a pretty good probe count at 30. And he's even going for a Dark Shrine, so he's going for that formerly standard build, where you get the Robo, get Dark Shrine, and the Warp Prism, and you drop some DTs across the map. Now, Tech 4 really just doesn't have the money to afford detection. He's trying to cut as many corners as he can. So I guarantee you by the time these DTs show up, there's probably not going to be any detection. And we even have 4 more adepts heading across the map. And probably going to try to pick away at some more probes. Or drones. My bad. Well. So I get like I get a lot more FPS off creep than I do on. Alright, so these adepts might not go in. These might just be scouting shades. But of course they can if they want. Any drone kill is a good drone kill, especially at the situation we find ourselves in right now. A couple roaches out on the map, and we do have this Warp Prism finally. So we're probably going to see some Dark Templars coming out of this. Eventually. I mean, yeah, it did finish. So it's just going to go over here into the Twilight Zone of Tech 4's creep, where no creep exists. And he's going to drop some DTs. Now, I don't think Tech 4 has a single thing capable of detecting. And this might just be GG. These can just pick down these hatcheries, and yeah, GG is called. Tech 4 taps out. Riser taking game number 1. That loaded in a lot quicker than I expected. Alright, so we have down here in the bottom left side of the map, we have in the purple winning our last game. It is Riser. And up in the top, or right, or left side of the map, or right side of the map, yep, that is the right. It is Tech 4. Now I imagine this game Riser is going to be a bit more concerned with scouting. I mean, he did scout pretty early on last game, but as you can see, scouts at around the same time because he knows that, as a Protoss is really delicate. I can't remember how Roddy explained it, but there's this one clip of Roddy talking about how Protoss is really good, but there's so many small things that you just lose the game if they happen. Which, of course, that's StarCraft 2 in general, but Protoss specifically, there's so many scenarios where it's if the Zerg, if your Zealot isn't in place at this area, the Zerg can run Zerglings through your base and just kill you. Or if, you don't have your Mothership Core in position, the Terran can just drop units here and kill you. Or if you don't have units by your mineral lines when they've dropped a Wood Mine, the Terran can kill you. There's a lot of shit like that. So, it's specifically for Protoss a lot more beneficial to just scout. And Tech 4 going for a pretty standard build this game. No really pool this time. We just see him mining a decent amount of gas, so maybe we'll see him get speed as soon as he can, which is not too uncommon. Alright, and we see a pretty quick mothership core as well. This is something I noticed a lot of players on their team really seem to like to skip, is just getting that mothership core. A lot of players just don't like getting it for some reason. It's very helpful. You should build it. I mean, there's a reason to get rid of it. It's because it's stupid. And Riser actually gonna just try to kill that Overlord there. I think he gets it. Yep. So yeah, that's a pretty nice move, especially if you are pretty confident that your opponent's not gonna all in you. It's pretty annoying for Tech 4 at this point in the game to have to divert an extra larva to build an Overlord. Now, Riser's doing a pretty good job skating around with this adept. Tech 4 probably should have had a third base down, right? Unless he's going for a... Okay, so he's going for 2-base Spire, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure what you can really afford off 2-base. Okay, so yeah, so that we see where his all... he was supply block for a while. So you can see where all of his minerals that were to be used for something else were piling up. He wanted to make a bunch of drones, but obviously he couldn't. So 2-base Spire, definitely not something we see very often nowadays. Alright, so Dark Shrine on the way, so this is going to be that DT drop build. We don't really see that as much in the current PvZ meta as we used to, but it's still a very common build. Of course, still very good, especially if you don't build detection. Though this 2-hatch media opening, that can definitely be pretty strong versus it. And I think, I'm not sure if Riser got vision of that. Let's see. Nope. He just barely didn't get vision of the Spire. And that adept did get picked off. So he doesn't know what Tech 4 is going for just yet. And if that if the War Prism gets picked off, that removes a lot of the potential for the Protoss to harass and do damage in this game. And generally the idea of this build is you get that War Prism so that you keep the Zerg on their side of the map. And that lets you expand. So we see Riser trying to expand right now actually. These Zerglings can go in and cancel that pylon, that'd be great. A couple of these Zerglings pathing around like a bunch of doofuses. Doofusai. Really nice cancel from Riser as well. I don't think these Zerglings can kill this Nexus, but they can get it pretty low, and these Mutas following up can do a lot of damage. So these Zerglings will spot out that one Warp Prism. I don't see anything on home. Okay, so he does put down Spore Crawlers and Spine Crawlers right away, as he does see these Dark Templars being morphed in. Will they be in time? And meanwhile, we see some Mutas coming over here. And over here, sorry. And they're going to go into main base as they do know that the Mothership Core is gone. And they're going to go to town on all these probes. And looks like the Spine Crawler and Spore Crawler will be finished just shortly. Actually, that's Spine Crawler not done in time. These DTs can go in here into the middle line and just pick away at the Spore Crawler right away. Couple more spines down here at the natural, but we do have links flooding into the natural of Riser. These Mutalisks just doing a hell of a lot of damage. I think, I'm not sure if you should have targeted that down. You probably lose a couple too many Mutalisks for that. But anyways, yeah, all these gateways are being shut down now, and these DTs, ooh, there's an Overseer here too, so these DTs are going to get killed by these Spine Crawlers. I'm not sure if that last one's not in range. That means they can kill it, and there is enough Stalkers out here that they will be able to fight versus these Mutalisks. I think this might be it here for Tech 4 if he doesn't kill this quickly. He has some more gateways up, so that means he can power some more stuff. And that also means that these Zerglings can't get in. There is one more overcharge left on this Mothership Core. These Zerglings are going to keep picking away at these gateways. Overcharge does go down. These Mutalisks actually drawn over to the pylon. One of them going to go down because of that. 2 stalkers left. There is enough mutas here, but there's an Archon. That Archon can just kill all these mutas, and I don't think there's much Tech 4 can do, even if some really great micro. It's gonna pick that off, but unfortunately when you micro the mutas, they always clump up, which is good versus some units, but versus the Archon, that is definitely not what you want to happen. Alright, so some Zerglings trying to flood into the natural there. Another Archon going to be made, and Archons are just so good versus Mutalisks. It's pretty crazy. Alright. So Tech 4 is going to continue to float around, try to harass. Overcharge does go down, might pick off another Mutalisks. Not sure if it did or not. I feel like Tech 4 might just want to go and target some of these tech structures up here. Like, if he killed that Dark Shrine, that would mean there's no more Archons could be made. And that would force his opponent to only have anti-air via Stalkers. Come on, target the Dark Shrine. Meanwhile, we got some DT attacking the 3rd base here, so another reason why he should have targeted the Dark Shrine, but, you know, whatever. Okay, so that pylon does go down. 2 Archons should be enough to force this out, as I don't think Tech really wants to fight versus those too much. Funny thing is, Mutalisk regen, and so did Protoss Shield, so it's kind of a hard fight to take. Nice pick off there, picking off that Mothership Core, but these Archons will get down to business here. One Mutalisk going down, another big hit. Oh, jeez. One more hit on this Mutalisk, and so many more of them would die. These Mutalisks are Tech 4's only hope, as we see this DT is just going to town on everything here. Tech 4 has 1 mining base, that's all he has. Pretty much that's all Riser has too, but I think 1 base Protoss beats 1 base Zerg. And these Stalkers are going to come over here. These Mutalisks are still pretty low from the pounding they took earlier. A couple of these Overlords going to get picked off. 5 more Mutalisks are going to join the flock though, so let's see how many we got. 12 Mutalisks versus 2 Archons and 8 Stalkers. I'm not really liking these odds for Tech 4. There's enough units now for Riser that pretty much every time Tech 4 tries to take an engage, he will lose a Muta if Riser targets. Yeah, I really would have loved to see him kill by the Dark Shrine, but fortunately wasn't able to. And he's going to try to run in here. He picks off a probe, and he gets out. So, trying to just eke out small amounts of damage here and there. Which, I think that's a pretty good plan if Tech 4 just keeps this up. This could be a long game. But, you know, the more units that Tech 4 makes, the better. And he is making roaches, which will do pretty well versus these Stalkers. 1 Mutalisk does go down for that Nexus, though. Pretty unfortunate. Oops. And now we got 3 Archons on the field. And a Warp Prism now. Head-to-head doesn't look great for Tech 4, and he only has 1 base to defend. He's building a bunch of roaches. But roaches don't do the best versus Archons either. Alright, so I think Tech 4 is just going to continue to pile on the roaches. This is definitely winnable though. I really don't feel like this is anyone's game. And especially if Tech 4 just keeps being active with these Mutalisks and just keep forcing Riser to stay at home, that means more roaches Tech 4 can get out. And he's even getting up a base, or another base up in his main base. Alright, so Tech 4 taking out some more pylons, gonna unpower some more gateways. We have an Overseer coming down here. But in the meanwhile, Riser is heading across the map. Tech 4's gonna take out some pretty important tech, but that means these Mutalisks aren't going to be with the army. And really, like, Tech 4 needs all the help he can get. I don't think these roaches are going to be enough to fight this army. He needs these Mutalisks with it. He has an army advantage right now, but the army's split up. These roaches are going to take a fight here with these Archons. 1 Archon does go down. A couple Stalkers getting low. See some nice pickup micro from Riser. Going to save some of these weakened units. Spore Callers are wailing down on these Archons, but Riser can pick those up right before they die if he so chooses to. And there we go, picks up one, drops it again. Tech 4 really just needs to target down. This is pretty bad for Tech 4. I think Tech 4 realizes he can't take the base trade of this. There's still 2 Archons alive is the thing though. And there's a decent amount of Stalkers. More Stalkers being warped in. I don't think these Mulas have what it takes to fight this. Maybe if everything was together at the first fight, this could have gone a bit different. Tech 4, really nice targeting, takes down or tries to take down both of the Archons, but Riser has some really nice micro, keeping that Archon alive for so long, gets so many shots off, and bam, all those Mulas are dead, and Riser is taking that series 2-0. That was a pretty tense last game. Okay, for some reason, alright, Tech 4 and Riser played a bit too many games. Alright. Oh, cool, and it looks like whoever uploaded the replays is using that neat little mod I made. Or, well, not made, the neat little mod I stole. Alright, so up here in the top left we have our Zerg player. It is Tech 4. Down here in the bottom right, in the teal, we have our Protoss player. It is Exiled. Yeah, I think the All Inspiration logo looks really nice with this mod on. I just like how, I don't know, this looks like subtle enough. Game of 1 and 4 are the ones Shazam wanted to go with. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna cast all of them, even though one of them looks intimidatingly long. Wait, this is the last game? It was labeled as game 1. Alright. I mean, that's happened before. Like, I'll go into a game and that ends up to be the last one of the series. But anyways. Alright, so this game looks like we have Exiled going for a pretty standard Gate Nexus core. This is your go-to macro opening if you're a Protoss player. Gets your Nexus up pretty quickly. And, you know, you don't really sacrifice too much. But, of course, it does have one drawback, being that you don't get your tech geared as quickly because the Cyber Core doesn't start as quick. So if you wanted to go for a really rushed tech opening, this isn't what you go for. So Exile's hoping for more of a macro-ish game. And I say macro-ish because, you know, you never know what the player might pump out later. They might just want a better early game so that their timing or whatever they're hoping for hits a bit harder. Oops. And Tech 4 is not doing anything too crazy as well. Both players just kind of macroing up. We do have a Baneling Nest here for Tech 4 though, so this could lead to some Ling Baneling aggression. No, I was hoping I could make it say best of 4. But unfortunately, it only goes best of 3 and best of 5. Alright, so, yeah, and it looks like this will be a Baneling bust, as you do have 10 Lings on the way. Speed a bit to finish, and that Baneling Nest is a bit to finish as well. Twilight Council on the way for Exiled. So, yeah, he might be going into that DT drop build, or maybe that charge lot build. We'll have to see what he decides to go for. That adept does see a lot of Lings, though, so if Exiled is thinking about it, he might go, oh, damn, that's a lot of Lings. Maybe I should build some units. And these Lings have speed now. That adept is barely getting away. Those Lings are hot on his tail. Bunch of Banelings being morphed in now. And not a whole lot of Lings with it currently. Reinforcements on their way. And the Mothership Core isn't out yet. So these Banelings can just run into this wall and get or force their way in, though. That is a lot of Banelings to force your way in, though. That's not the best trades. And we even have that Adapt here, plus another Pylon. We do have a Foothold Overcharge available, so once this Pylon is finished, these Lings can just get annihilated by it. If Tech 4 targets it, he could actually just... Oh, never mind. I was hoping he could knock down that Cyber Core before that finished. But Pylon does get him. Some more Banelings on the way, but I'm not sure about the success of this. And that Cyber Core is very low. Tech 4 is just going to keep picking away at it. And that Cyber Core is also very low. Some Banelings blowing up. Tech 4 has forced his way in. Wall is down. Lings are trying to flood in, but XII can produce a decent amount of units, and these Lings are starting to get overwhelmed. And that's going to clean up that. And I'm not sure if Tech 4 has enough economy back at home to continue to try to force his way in here. Alright, kind of crappy papping there for those Zerglings. Still, Tech 4's got to keep trying to force his way in. There's not a whole lot he can do. He does have some drop overlords though, so he will be able to navigate that wall. But looks like XII will spot this out. At the meantime, he is going to try to force his way into the natural again for the wall. That's a lot of Zealots. Of course, that's all XII could produce for quite a while. And it looks like Tech 4 will try to force his way in. There's a bunch of Zealots lined up in that wall. A couple Banelings going to blow up. Only kills one Zealot. So really just not trading as cost efficiently as he needs to at this point. Every second that ticks away, Exile's better economy is allowing him to continue to hold this. Yeah, I don't think there's anything Tech 4 can do at this point, and so he thinks the same, and GG's. So, first game gonna go in favor of Exile. Alright, so game 2. Someone just confident. Alright, so spotted up here in the top left, we have playing for all inspiration, not actually confident. It is Antares, otherwise known as Tech 4. And down here in the bottom right, we have playing into teal. It is Exile. I'm glad. I'm assuming it's Tech 4 uploaded these replays. I'm very glad that he decided to choose the confident logo. Alright, so let's see what these players are up to. Looks like Tech is going to go for a hatch first. So nothing too crazy just yet. And I remember we were all speccing this game live. This was, in my opinion, this is probably the stupidest game I've ever seen from Exile. Alright, so yeah, Exile is fronting out some proxy gateways here. He is going to be going for a Zealot proxy. I think it was Zealot proxy. I remember just like being disgusted by it, like not watching much anymore. Alright, so that probe will come in here and see what's up. Tech 4 might be alarmed by how quickly this probe is in his base, because normally this isn't when the probe would come in, I believe. I think it comes in a bit later. And, sorry, will Tech 4 scout that? Yes, he will, just barely sees it out of the corner of his eye. And eventually that Overlord will make his way back there to see what's up. I think. Alright. Okay, so yeah, Tech 4 does know something's up. He's maybe just doesn't want to tip his hand yet. He is back at home doing what's important, getting some spine crawlers up. Getting some zerglings. And here we have these Alts on their way. They're just going to continue to try to force their way in here and get some cost efficiency. Okay, so we do have one spine crawler up now. A bunch of Zerglings come in, good surround. These Zealots do target down that spine crawler though, and some more Zealots are going to die for it. And yeah, so it looks like Tech 4 got a good surround, but he just doesn't have enough Zerglings yet. I think he just needs to hold back for a bit, wait for some more Zerglings to hatch, and then go in for an overwhelming surround here. So another Spore Crawler, that one actually gets killed, not even cancelled. But there is another Spore Crawler in the, or Spine Crawler, sorry, in the main. One Zealot going down for pretty much free there, another one going down. These Zerglings are just going to continue to fight versus these Zealots. They are coming at 3 at a time though, and Zealots are pretty strong versus Lynx. And yeah, I'm not liking this idea. And yeah, Alxald's being weird and going for charge. I really think so see, he gives away a lot of links for free there, which is like every link matters in this situation, and he has queens with him too, but he really needs, I think he brought it specifically to target down the pylon, maybe? But he really needs speed is what he needs. Because see how many of these Zealots are fighting right away, whereas the Zerglings have to wait to navigate their way around. And XI's doing a really good job. He's pulling back some of the weaker Zealots and just letting them get the most damage they can. All of them are having quite a few amount of kills, and 2 queens are going to go down for this as well. So that wasn't a cheap trade for a Tech 4 to take. Right, and some Zerglings trying to pick away at this pylon are going to get killed by the Mothership Core. A bunch of Zealots are out now, and they will have charged in about 13 seconds. And this is where the stupid part comes in. I thought this was so disgusting when I watched it. I was like, oh god. So I think I'm like the only one in the world who thinks that the charge slots are just a bit too much in some situations. Alright, these charge slots going to move in here. Tech 4 trying to get us around. These spine crawlers trying to get as much damage as they can down on these Zealots. A couple more of them getting picked off. A lot of these Zealots are pretty low. The Zealots and the Queens fighting now. The Zerglings coming in to try to reinforce. A lot of these Zealots are so low. Tech 4 really just needs to target down these weak ones as quickly as he can. But he doesn't have the economy to fight this back. Even though Exiled went for a proxy, he has more workers than Tech 4 does. And so finally Tech 4 does clean up those Zealots, but Charged Zealots are just really good. So Tech 4 is going to try to counterattack here. Not sure how I feel about this. He's even morphing Banelings. Alright, so these Zinglings getting us around on these Zealots, but these Zealots are pretty strong. Actually, he's getting +1 as well. I think Tech 4 just needed to hold 1 base, if he could. I'm not sure. And meanwhile, those Banelings got absolutely destroyed by that photon overcharge. And I think this is going to be the game here for Tech 4. And from this point, it looks like Exiled can just keep making Zealots. And just keep getting kills. Alright, Tech Force trying to glitch out the drones here a bit, but not much you can do. And GG is called. So for all intents and purposes, XII just won the series, but when Tech 4 and XII played, of course, they thought it was a best of 5, so they kept playing. So we're going to go and we're going to watch game number 3 and game number 4 respectively. Alright, so we have up here, spawning in the top right side of the map in the orange, playing Zerg, it is Tech 4. And down the bottom left, we have in the teal playing Protoss, it is XII. So I really cannot wait to get to that 40-minute game. That is our next one. I guess I don't really care as much about spoilers at this point. I don't know a whole lot other than the fact that it was 40 minutes, and probably Swarm hosts were made. I'm going to, I don't know that for a fact, but I'm going to take a guess. Swarm hosts were probably made. Alright, so hatch first from Tech 4. And pretty standard gateway timing from XII as well. Actually going for 2 gate this game. Yeah, XII seems to like this a decent amount, or at least he has in the games he's played. I'm not sure if he's just like doing it just to try it out, to see if it's still good. Because he's only played it versus Frogs and Tech 4. So, like, oh, he did play in PvP, but that's, of course, because it's more standard in PvP. But anyways, let's see how he goes with this. Alright, so nothing happening yet. Oops. Where's those like gun things on this map? Oh, they're there. Oh, I guess you can't see them when they're in Fog of War. That's dumb. Where's the other one? Isn't there 2? Oh well. I'll find the other one someday. Alright, so Stalker at the map now. Gonna try to be a bit greedy and get this Overlord. There are some links nearby that can come to its assistance. But there's 2 Stalkers, so I don't think these links will actually be able to kill that Stalker. Especially if they don't get a surround on it right away. So I'm going to stutter step Micro. XI's going to force those links back. And Tech 4 getting an Evo Chamber for a pretty quick +1 and a Roach Warren on the way. So we might see a bit of a Roach timing push this game. Because that +1 is pretty quick. Meanwhile, we have Blink on the way for Exiled. Pretty interesting. You don't normally see Blink in PvZ as much. Especially because you don't see Stalkers that often. Alright, so XII is getting +1 weapons as well. He's only on 2 base for now. I think this is around the time when you want to start thinking about trying to take your third, around this like 4-minute 30 mark, 4:40. As we can see, he is following this up with a Dark Shrine, which is pretty interesting. You don't normally see all of these upgrades off of 2 bays. Okay, so he has a decent amount of gateways now too. So it's very probable that he's going for an aggressive push with maybe Blink Stalkers and DTs. Some really weird build that we've never seen before. Because there's no way he takes a third and just like plays this as a macro game after he's invested into so many different tech. And this is kind of what I was saying earlier about XII playing weird. He just like does stuff like this from time to time. It's really like weird builds. It's kind of cool though because it's like there's a personal touch. Bunch more gateways on the way. Tech4 has some pretty good map coverage, as you can see. He has both the watchtowers. He has quite a lot of map vision. And I think he's pretty comfortable for now. But he should be a bit uncomfortable in the sense that he doesn't see that, or he doesn't see a third base. Obviously, like, you'd want to see a third base and assume your opponent is playing a macro game. And he's actually going for Blink DTs. What do we have here? So Blink Stalkers with Blink TTs off 2 bases. Alright, so Tech4 has Roach Ravager, and he has an Overseer, so he does have the ability to detect, so these Blink TTs aren't going to be too impactful in my opinion. But Blink Stalkers, you know, if XII has the macro, he can make them work. Alright, so we see the first of the Stalkers coming in here on creep. They take a couple pot shots at one of these roaches, blinks away these weakened ones, doing a pretty good job blinking most of them back, but a couple of them getting cut hit. There loses about 3 or 4 of them. And yeah, really just not panning out too well. There's just too much Roach Ravager here, and they have +1 attack, so they hurt. And he actually leads them all the way down to this base. And he sees the Overseer and realizes that he can't use DTs to get effectiveness anymore. What the fuck? Network error. Is Lando having a difficult time connecting? Did the Canadian government block the Australians? Great must have gotten elected finally and blocked all Australians from the internet. Alright. So, now XI's finally taken his third base at like 7 minutes 40 seconds. Pretty late, and his... How long does that fucking upgrade take? Holy shit. He finally has Blink TTs. Fortunately not using it there when he could have. Alright, so Tech4's coming in here. A lot of DTs, a lot of Stalkers with this army. But we do have detection. If XIL was a smarty pants, he would just blink and shoot that Overseer. And then the DTs could clean everything up, but he didn't do that. So now these Roaches and Ravagers are just going to finish off pretty much everything here, and at the very least they will probably deny this base. Right. Both the pylons going down. That Nexus does get cancelled luckily, so Exiled isn't losing too much money from it. He's continuing to warp in Dark Templars. I think he's just memeing a bit at this point. You know. Technically, like, as we know, like, he's already won, but at this point in time, they did think that they were still playing. Like, they thought it was a best of 5. So, I mean, when you're up 2-0, like, might as well go for some meme build. Because that way you get that, you know, that added game to add into your best game of the season. What was it? Contest. I think it's best game of the season, right? Yeah. Alright, so a bunch of Zealots and DTs coming in here. These DTs do blink on top of the Roach Ravager, but get immediately gunned down. And all of these Zealots are getting picked off now, and pretty much nothing left here for Exiled. And that's going to be it for that one. Alright, so we're going into our last game of the day. This one's going to be a long one, boys. So XI's already won the series, but Tech 4 and him both thought that it was a best of 3. So they played 4 games in total. Alright. So we have here, spawning down in the bottom left side of the map, we have in the orange, it is Tech 4. And up here, in the top left, we have in the teal, playing Protoss, it is XI. Alright. So, I'm looking forward to developing many types of cancer that we did not know existed from watching this game. I imagine this game had plenty and plenty of swarm hosts. This is probably going to be awful. I'm going to say that right now. This will probably be horrible. I hope it's like swarm hosts versus like mass blink DTs with carriers in the mothership. Alright. So first scouting probe of the game coming in here. And you know, everything looks pretty normal. Nothing too insane as of yet. And XI feels comfortable enough and he will throw down that Nexus. And Cybercore finally coming down. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting map for PvZ in my opinion. There's a lot of pretty nice spots for engagements to happen in, and they normally happen around like all these ramps. Of course, it's kind of like a natural engagement point, but I find like PvZ engagements tend to happen more around these like ramp areas than other matchups do. Like for example, I find TvZ, a lot of the big engagements happen around this like openish area or this area. But for PvZ, a lot of the engagements always happen around these ramps. I don't know why. Probably because of force fields, even though like not all Protoss players use sentries in the matchup. And alright, so 8 links coming out, and Overlord speed is on the way. We don't have an EVA chamber or anything along those lines yet, so I think this might just be like really safe amount of links. It's not anything too crazy. And XI doing a pretty good loop-de-loop here. Pulls that adept all the way back, and he will pick off 1 drone and force 2 spore crawlers to be made and then cancelled. Alright, so Tech 4 did get Overlord speed, which gives these Overlords these really cool like gills or something. Lets them I'm pretty sure in the lore it allows them to intake oxygen faster so that it can be used as propulsion or something. I'm just joking, I don't know if that's actually in the lore. But yeah, Tech 4 is going to use those and he should be able to get a good scout. And actually he is going for some link drops this time. But he's not all in them. He has 3 bases. His drone counts, or probe count, sorry, is a bit on the low end of things. But you know, some bailing drops here and there can definitely even that up. And XI doesn't have any units or pylons in this mineral line, so this one's going to be pretty exposed. However, same can't be said for this one, as we do see there is a pylon it's not in range, but it's close enough. And of course there's that one there to scout. So Overlord 1 getting loaded up, Banelin's coming out. Alright, so first Overlord is going to hit, and no reaction yet from Exiled. Oh my god, a huge amount of probes going down. 8, 9 already, 10. Can we see some more? Alright, so 10 in total go down, and Exiled hasn't even reacted to the one up top yet. Banelings will be getting dropped down shortly. And holy shit, that's a lot of probes down. 20 probes killed with those Baneling drops. So those Baneling drops have paid for themselves and more. Tech 4 is absolutely fine. Even some of these probes still not mining. So, you know, that's even more money lost. They're all in a nice line though. Alright, so Exile does have a DT Shrine, or Dark Templar Shrine, or Dark Shrine, or Dark Templar Shrine. And it looks like Tech 4 is just going to keep going for these Baneling busts. Or not busts, drops, sorry. Back at home, let's see. Okay, so he's getting some spine crawlers. I love this. Getting those spines and spores. It's just going to be really safe. And he has a bunch of lings in the vicinity, so they can react pretty quickly. I don't know if he has any overseers, but these spore crawlers are within range most of the time. Alright, so these Baneling drops will start happening again. And, you know, the thing is, Tech 4 just needs to queue them up. He doesn't have to keep looking at them, because they do pretty much the same damage either way, whereas Exile needs to keep looking. And these Baneling drops are going to come in again. Alright, so Photon Overcharge does go down in the main, but still 5 probes go down. And that's perfectly fine damage. More Banelings coming in the natural. Will Exile be prepared this time? Looks like he's not. Banelings are coming down. Oh my god, 17 more probes go down. Let's see. 37 probes in total have gone down to the Baneling drops. That's just nuts. And meanwhile, other side of the map, Exiled has transformed these 2 Dark Templars into an Archon. And he's going to start dropping in the main. I'm not sure. Okay, so Tech 4 does have some units here to deal with these. But these Archons can just continue to be annoying. And of course, Archons versus Lings is always a great match for the Archons. Looks like they're just going to keep picking away at the spawning pool, just keep doing damage. And Tech 4 is just going to keep loading these Overlords up and dropping them. I mean, why not? Archon's getting kind of low on shields. You'd think after the 3rd time, Exiled will be a bit more prepared to deal with this. Alright, meanwhile we do have 4 Dark Templars coming in. No detection at this mineral line. This hatchery is going to go down at the very least. And meanwhile, other side of the map, these drops are loaded up. But that hatchery does fall. Dark Templars are going to start picking away at some drones. We do have some Ravagers fighting with that. These Archons there. And these Archons getting quite a few kills now. This drone's stacking up pretty poorly. 5 drones do go down. Alright. So Baneling drops are coming down, but there is Stalkers in position. So it looks like this will be the last of the Dropper Lords. But they still get their payload out to do some damage. There is detection here, so these Dark Templar are seen. And that Spore Crawler should be able to kill one. I think it's dead now though. But still, that's fine. Tech 4 is on a pretty low drone count though. And he's on only 2 bases, which, like, yeah, sure they're on even bases, but still, it's not great to be on even bases with a Protoss, regardless of the amount of damage you've done. Exile's economy's just not looking great though. But especially with the units that Exile has on the map, this Archon drop in particular, I'll point out, that's going to be a lot of potential damage he can get done if he just keeps being active with it. Unfortunately, he did lose a couple of these Dark Templars though. But if he can just keep getting some more damage here and there with these Archons, he can get a lot of damage done. Alright, Exile just going to continue to micro these. And Tech 4 backing up quite a lot of minerals. That's a lot of minerals. Alright, so he's trying to establish another base here. He does have layers, so he should have access to Overseers. He has Hydras on the way, and he has the Reindeer Hydra skin, which is a pretty neat skin. It was available for Christmas only. I actually really hope Blizzard makes the Christmas skins. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe that's oh my god, they could like do like a whole like diversity thing like they've been trying to do with like Overwatch and stuff, and just have like one unit skin for like every major religious holiday. That'd be kind of neat. Alright, so it looks like Tech 4 is heading across the map, and you do have XI's army. I'm not sure who's getting caught out, but this looks like an awkward fight for both these players to take. XII has a lot of really strong units in this force, and Tech 4 just didn't have the powerful economy behind what he's doing to really back this up, and we see Tech 4 losing a lot of units there. Meantime, Baleen drops happening again, and XII, I guarantee you he's not paying attention. Oh, just kidding. He is paying attention. And Tech 4 on the run now, trying to hole up back in his base. He's trying to spend all his money. Like, he has a lot of money to spend, but not enough larva to spend it on. And in the meanwhile, only 2 drones went down to that Baleen drop. But can this one get any damage? Come on! Oh, 10 drones go down. That's pretty good. And Tech 4 has a decent concave in here. This is going to be hard for XII to really fight in. A couple of these Hydros getting into position though. We don't have any upgrades for the Hydros. Meanwhile, XII is at +1 shields and +1 attack here for his units. So those are going to be doing pretty well. And, you know, at the very least, XII gets the space. Alright, so Archon gets picked off there pretty quickly. And if these Archons die, that means these Lings have like full reign over this Protoss army. That War Prism is getting pretty low. Baleens colliding with a lot of the Zealots. Kind of awkward targeting there from Tech 4. He wasn't really stutter stepping us forward, only targeting on the War Prism. But still, he gets the job done. Takes that War Prism out, that means these units cannot retreat. Another Archon getting targeted down. These Immortals are pretty much dead. Like, there's no way they can escape as long as Tech 4 keeps chasing. And yeah, this is a lot of units lost here for XII. Meanwhile, though, he should have enough money that he can warp in enough units to hold on, because Tech 4's economy isn't great either. He can't really produce that overwhelming force he needs. Let's see. So Tech 4, yeah, like Tech 4's economy is only marginally better. It probably will get a bit better once this base gets saturated. Let's see. So yeah, we can see it going up a bit, but still, it's not that great. Alright, another Warp Prism actually getting picked off. Funny thing for Exiled is, like, because he's been losing all these probes, it means his, he hasn't had time to mine out. Because he doesn't have probes to mine with. So he's going to be on these 2 bases for quite a while. And this is a really low econ game. This is pretty good so far, actually. I was really expecting a lot worse. I thought this was gonna be awful, but it's been pretty good. Back and forth action all over the place, and we do have a lurker down on the way. Couple Zerglings fighting with some Zealots on the map. One thing Tech 4 really hasn't been doing is getting some more upgrades. Really like to see him get some upgrades. As Hydros do so much better the higher upgrades they are. Even just getting to +1 would be so nice. Because, you know, like, you think it's pretty much the cost of like 2, maybe 3 Hydros to get +1, and it just makes your Hydros so much better. Alright, now Tech 4 really can't fight with this Hydra army. Hydras aren't something that you really just like full-on fight with. You need some sort of backing. You need some Lings, you need Roaches, you need something to tank the damage. And that's not because Like Hydros are decently tanky. Like they got 90 health. Like that ain't bad. But they're pretty expensive for their health. So ideally, you don't want to be trading them if you can. If you can keep them alive, they're pretty expensive, and the longer you keep them alive, the better you'll be in the long run of the game. So we do have Bailey's speed on the way now, and 16 links. So Tech 4 is just going to keep staying on this Hydrolink Bane composition, which is, of course, the go-to nowadays. A lot of Zealots heading into the natural here, and they do have +1, so they're going to be shredding these legs. Legs do have +1/+1 though. Still, +1 Zealots beat +1 legs. And I think I missed a little scuffle on the map there, actually. Didn't quite notice what happened. And XII finally taking a third base. Will Tech 4... Does Tech 4 have vision of that? Yeah, he does. Okay. So... Tech 4 has a pretty low drone count, but he is on free base. Almost mined out in the main. Literally barely has anything left there. He just has a bit of gas. Meanwhile, XII still has a pretty mineable main. Like, let's see how many minerals he got. He's got a couple thousand up there. That ain't bad. Alright, some more Zealots coming in to do some harassment. They pick off Hydros pretty quickly. As I said, Hydros not the best units to fight alone. There's a lot of Spore Crawlers up here, luckily, so these Zealots aren't going to get too much done. And I'm not sure XII knows about this base up here. Tech 4 going in for a pretty nice maneuver here. He's going to just try to cancel this third base, and that's a really good move. Just keeping XII on 2 bases for like the longer, it's going to make him more desperate. He's going to try to make more plays on the map. He's going to try to take riskier bases. And okay, so Tech 4 is setting up. He picks off that Mothership Core really quickly. Only 1 photon overcharge does go down before they get set off. A couple of links trying to run in there, actually getting picked off. Does XII have... Okay, XII does have an observer. This would be really cute if Tech 4 just picks off the observer somehow. I mean, it's pretty small and hard to click, so it's going to be pretty tough. Of course, there's a lot of Immortals and Archons with this army, plus these Zealots doing quite a lot of tanking. These Lurkers are getting picked off pretty quickly. And these Zealots Hydros really just can't stand the fight here any longer. Trading Hydros for Zealots is not a great trade. And XII just barely keeping himself in this game. That is a horrible sound. Alright, so another Lurker burrowed up here. These Hydros are trading with that Lurker. Or not Lurkers, sorry, the Zealots. More Hydros here getting caught out. Tech 4 kind of thrown away the lead he's getting here. I think he's getting a bit too anxious to do damage. I think Tech 4 really should try to take another base. Maybe get some more upgrades going, get some better tech. Oh my god, that is so cute. I saw moving the Zealot back and forth, dodging the Lurker spines. This is such a like low econ game. Like that matters a lot. Like to keep that one Zealot alive. All right. So it's such a difficult decision for XII to make. It's so much money to take another base, but he needs another mining base. But at the same time, he doesn't want to die, so he needs to balance building units with building a new base. And it looks like Tech 4 has decided to advance up the tech tree here, getting the Aspire. But does he have the economy to support this? Tech 4 has a lot of larva now, but his economy isn't great. In fact, him and XII are on pretty similar worker counts. Actually, XII might need more gas than Tech 4 is. Some new gas is just finished, so Tech 4 will get to mining. And we have a couple disruptors of this army, key to note. Especially, one thing Tech 4 I found has always been really weak in is splitting. And, because it's not a thing you see very often, or like do very often as a Zert. So it's just not something he's very, in my opinion, good at. So playing versus these disruptors can be pretty hard. One disrupting ball goes out, damages a lot of these Lurkers. Not a huge amount of Hydras here left over to deal with these. 2 Lurkers go down, and Lurkers are hella expensive. Looks like Tech Force planning some more Baneling drops over here. None over here at the moment. Or maybe just gonna drop some Lings in. That's fine too. I mean, Lings are pretty inexpensive. Alright, so do you have a lurker up here? Do you have a one? Okay, there's an observer with this army. Yeah, and you, like, that Disrupted Nova didn't get too many kills. Yeah, you really need to keep these lurkers alive. Like, they're just so expensive. Okay, and Tech 4 finally is getting upgrades, which is so key. These Hydras do so much more damage if you have upgrades. And, oh shit, here we go. Sentries coming in. Now, this is one thing I think Exiled is really good at doing. It's microing battles. If Exiled can plant some force fields and utilize his army correctly, he can do a hell of a lot. I've seen him come back from pretty much lost games just because of his micro. And I think he could definitely do it here too. The army supplies are pretty similar. And Tech 4 is trying to advance up the Tech tree too, getting some Mutilated. And oh my god, that was a huge hit from the Disruptors. And Tech 4, he doesn't have enough Mutilated for it to be relevant. Like, there's 4 Archons with this army. Not really liking this Lurker transition. Or not Lurker, sorry, Hydra, Mutalisk transition. And this base gets taken in, which is so key. And Tech 4's had it. He's heading across the map. He's gonna try to do a base trade, I think. But at the same time, like, Exile has time to prepare for this. He's closer to Tech 4's base. Protoss units just do shit tons of damage. Even though Mutalisks are pretty good, I just don't think they can kill all this stuff fast enough. And Exile really nicely transforming those DTs into an Archon at just the last second, right before one of them died. Archon's gonna get a couple shots off, doing a lot of damage to these Mutalisks. I don't know where the Mothership Core is. I think it's with the army, actually. Or was. But Exile turning back. Tech 4 is not on any mining bases, though. So, like, he has 0 income right now. But these Mutalisks might just make up the difference here. They're killing a hell of a lot of probes. All these probes so stacked up over here. And these Hydras are going to start trading away, trying to pick off this Nexus. Meanwhile, this army, a lot of things that are glue and blowy. Blue and glowy, I meant to say. Alright, these Mutalisks are going to try to get in here, but they're so stacked. Those Archons are getting such good hits on them. These Mutalisks are going to have to back out. And this is going to be a lot like Riser versus Tech 4, where Tech 4 was microing his Mutalisks to his heart's extent, trying to get some damage done. Archons are the bane of Mutalisk's existence, though, and this is going to be pretty hard for Tech 4 to go in here and get some damage done. Every time he pokes in here, these Archons can come up and fight him. But at the same time, Exiled is barely mining. I think the longer Tech 4 keeps him here, the better spot he's in. Tech 4 has 24 drones. It's going to be a while before Tech 4 can build another hatchery with his pretty crappy income. Like, is that 220? Look how much shit like income is off 24 workers, because they're all long distance mining. Let's look at the units tab. Alright, so Exile definitely has the better army in this situation. But the fact is, Tech 4 can just keep backstabbing him every time he moves out. And I'm not sure if Exile can risk a base trade. This is pretty tough. I feel like if I was Exiled, I'd probably just... I'm not sure what I'd do. Maybe leave, like, a couple Archons at home. Because, like, 2 or 3 Archons is definitely enough to take on these Mutalisks. Especially with some sentry support when they move out. But I guess Exiled is probably just really worried about what Tech 4 has been making across the map. Because if he heads out and loses a shit ton of his units to maybe some Lurkers or a bunch of Hydras that Tech 4 might have had, then he's going to be in a pretty bad spot too. I don't think he realizes the spot they're in. Finally, another base started here. That means no more long distance mining. And this army is just going to stay at home as XII mines out the last of his resources. Why is he even bothering to build that? Like, I guess he is supply blocked, so. He probably just wants to build a couple more Archons and then feel comfortable with his army into it. Because he only has the one gateway. That's all he has. He can't produce out of anything besides the gateway. Alright, and this base will be finished shortly, and the longer that base is up, the better the situation is. Oh god. XII has to do something soon, like, the longer Tech 4 has, the better. This is, it's getting pretty tense. He's bringing the probes. He's making his last stand. Oh god, if Tech 4 isn't paying... Okay, if Tech 4 wasn't paying attention, he could have lost quite a few units there. And, like, the thing is, Tech 4 hasn't been building any units back at home. He has a shit ton of spine crawlers. And look at all those left, and it's like a... God, it looks like those, like, spider nests that have, like, all the spiders hatching. Exiled. Such indecision. Come on, make a choice, make a choice. What's happening? Okay, and Zealot is coming in here, doing some damage. Citizens arrest going on with the probes. Tech 4 trying to micro them out of the way of harm there, but loses 4 probes, or 4 drones, sorry, to that one Zealot. And I think that one Zealot gave XII the confidence he needed. He realizes, like, okay, Tech 4 has jack shit, I can just kill him. But, yeah, Tech 4 definitely cannot base trade. XII has brought all of his probes with him, so he can make a building if he needs to. I don't know why he hallucinated that. But there's nothing here to defend. One queen, like, does nothing versus this. Okay, so I think Tech 4 is just going to try to hold out. Like, that's a lot of spine crawlers, don't get me wrong. And if he's lucky, maybe he kills some Archons. Maybe he makes this into a really weird situation for XII. These Mulas are going to just start picking away at these buildings back here at XI's home. Not doing the quickest amount of damage. They do +1 though, which is pretty good. Now, can XI break the Spine Forest? Can he push his way in? Alright. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to trade versus this if he doesn't want to. I mean, he can just keep using his disruption balls. Because, like, he shouldn't actually care if all these buildings die, because it's going to take the Mutalists forever to clean this out anyways. So he can just sit back and keep using the Disrupting Novas and picking away at these buildings. It'll take him like 12.5 years, but he can do it. Oh, no, stay back, stay back. Oh my god. Okay, so there is a pylon over here, so that is his building of safety. If that dies, he has enough minerals to throw down some more buildings. So I shouldn't say that. Oh my god. Okay, so there's still a decent amount of roaches here. The thing is, if any of these, well, I guess not if any, but if too many of these Archons die, he's gonna have a tough time fighting versus the Mutalisks, because obviously sentries do fucking dick all. Kind of whipped that one. This is really tough. Okay, so Tech 4 is finally finishing up all these buildings over here, and there's still another base up here to deal with for Exiled. Tech 4 has no money though; he can't build anything, even though he has drones. Oh, that was a huge hit. I didn't see what happened there, but I seen the bodies flying. So XII finally inching his way forward here. Will Tech 4 go in? Huge disruption ball. Oh, hitting so many of the units. One of those Archons is so low. Okay, so all the Mulas, they've killed everything over on that side of the map. There's one pylon left. XII has enough money for a pylon and a assimilator if he so chooses to. Can Tech 4 dive on that pylon quick enough? Oh, there's another pylon. There's another pylon. So he has enough money for one more pylon and an assimilator. And all he has to do is sit here. Where's the, I thought there was a observer somewhere. Okay, so yeah, that's actually funny. He needs to hallucinate a phoenix just so he has high ground vision. So he can constantly see those when they come on. Oh god. Well, look at how much damage those Archons do. It's gonna say, like... Protoss shields regen a hell of a lot faster than Mulas do. So, especially with the amount of damage that gets done, like, equivocally. Alright, so that pylon is getting pretty low, but those Mulas are taking a hell of a lot of shots. And the thing is, XII still has enough money for one more pylon. I don't know where he kept his probes, but... Okay, so Tech 4 is going all out. He's going to try to pick off that last pylon. Not quite... Oh, he wasn't... Oh my god. Okay, so 8 Mulas left. He's lost a hell of a lot of Mulasks. Tech 4 has like nothing he can do. Like if this was versus a Terran, it would be fine. Like Tech 4 could just keep microing to his heart's content, regardless of what the units were, pretty much. But versus a Protoss, that doesn't work. Like he can't micro Mulas versus Archons. Like they don't do enough damage. There's only one more probe with this army. If a couple lucky glaives hit that, and it dies. How much longer does this go on for? Holy shit. If I was exiled, I'd do something BM. I'd put down like a forge or something, or a gateway. Or can you not build those with it with a Nexus? Oh, and Exiled throws down the pylon. Can Tech 4 pick that off? Like... Yeah, I guess like the 1A is like too ingrained in the Protoss brain to solve this complicated math equation. I think he was probably just hoping that if he built it, that Tech 4 would leave. Oh my god. This is Tech 4, I accept your apology. I understand what you warned us about now. I thought there was gonna be Swarm Hosts, but no. This is something much worse. Yeah, I mean, the rest of the game was really fun, actually. If only Protoss shields weren't so imba. Like, look at how much damage does Meatless take, holy crap. Oh my god. Did Tech 4 loot? No, I didn't lose another either. Okay, so he still has 8. XL just split his army for a second there. That's really weird. How do I check that? Oh. Everything's on one hotkey. This is yeah, I do not know how to put this. Oh my god. Okay, you only lost 1 Mulus from that, so like that looked a lot worse than it did. It was mostly Overlords blown up. But holy shit, these Mulus are low. Yeah, man, that'd be so like funny if Tech 4 had like a hidden base somewhere. I guess Exile doesn't know that because like there's, you know, like what's Exile doing? Just like run up the ramp. I think he figured it out. And GG, well played is called. And finally Exile defeats Tech 4. And that's going to be it for our games tonight. So from that group we had, I think it was Riser and Exiled Advance. Let me go double check that and make sure. Don't want to be spewing fake news. Riser and Frogs, my bad. Alright, because the only game Exiled won was versus Tech 4. I presumed. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate the viewership. I will make sure to upload VODs of this later. Again, thanks for tuning in. Have a good morning, everyone, or good night, wherever you may be.